everybody. It's chaos here at MacBites headquarters. Mike's just heard the intro to the show. You didn't hear the intro to the show because I hadn't turned the microphone on. Mike is laughing his little cotton socks off.
I can hear you now.
Okay, not the most elegant of entries, but that's MacBites, thank you. Oh, good grief. I see Neil suggesting you go live without me. I'll remember that one. Okay, let's get serious.
Serious, MacBites?
Yeah, serious. Excellent. Right, I am now live. What I'm doing on my other machine is I can do it on one machine, but if I do you remember when the machine locked up? Yeah, not going there again. So I always do it on another machine. But right now, I'm not. So I'm going in on the other machine. Now, the other humorous thing, not humorous when it happens to you, of course, is when it starts to play around and tells you that you're not live and then you are live and you're not live. And it generally, then it logs me out. Now, that's bad. When it logs me out of my Google account, password for which is, I think, 96 characters at the moment, and I have to log back in. I have to log back in before I can come out of the meeting. So, excellent. Never mind that. We're live now. Stop laughing, Mike. He's enjoying this. He's enjoying this far too much. Okay, let me say hello to everybody. Whoa, let me get right back to the top. Right, hello, Kim. Kim was first in. I wonder where Jonathan is. Do you think he's nodded off?
No, Jonathan's
Oh, Jonathan's there. There's Jonathan. So he's not asleep. Hello, Kim. Hello, Graham. Hello, Neil. Hello, Paul. Jonathan, you're all laughing at me. That's
Neil,
not fair.
you are famous. Neil from Timperley.
Hello, Marcus. Hello, Deb. Excellent. Oh, baby Neil, because I don't know Neil's son's name. Baby Neil. Neil's global superstar. There you go. You are indeed very famous to us.
Neil, if you tell us your son's name, we'll give you a name check. We'll give him a name check.
Jonathan was a little late. Jonathan, that's fine. Of more significance, so was I. So I won't hold it against you. There you go.
He's famous in the Minecraft community.
Oh, that's a game. We're not good with games. We're pathetic with games. But hello, I'm glad you're famous in the Minecraft community. Neil's famous globally because he knows Timperley. Untethered in Timperley, what a show that was. Right, everything's underhand, everything's in control. It's all in control. It's not a problem.
You mean in hand?
In hand, that's what I mean.
Underhand.
Underhand, yeah, that as well. Oh, good grief, good grief.
What a day.
I've now got an email from the priest. Don't do that when I'm live. You see, I wouldn't know about that, would I? No. I've just had a selective notification. There are only 2 people that would be sending me an email, and one of them sat next to me, so he wouldn't. And needless to say, the other one decided to do it right now. Yeah, these things are sent to tryers. But let's get into the show, because we've got a jam-packed show. We might be making half of it up as we go along, but never mind. Another stupid thing I did was I thought it was 8 o'clock, not 9 o'clock, and I started Creative Cloud updates. I think it's finished. If not, we could be a while.
Have you started Camtasia?
Have I started Camtasia? Now you're asking me that because I didn't last week. Can I just say yes, I have? Thank you. As if I wouldn't start Camtasia. No, I need to make sure that they can see my screen because we're going to do some magic tonight and it's going to be very complex magic. That's the plan. Don't know whether we'll actually get there or not. And I've still got things in the inbox to put in the presentation that's not going to happen. But anyway, you can see my screen.
It's BK.
It's what?
BK. BK is Neil's...
BK, hello!
Neil's son.
Hello, BK.
Said as the letters.
BK. Your dad is a superstar.
And so are you.
Thank you. Yeah, my chat's just disappeared off this computer.
Oh.
It's going to be one of those nights. It is. But never mind. We're going to press ahead regardless.
We have Peter from Australia.
Hello, Peter from Australia. Glad you can join us. Let's have a look what we're going to be doing tonight. Here you go. Right, we've got the update of the week of MacBites headquarters. Been a bit busy, hasn't it, Mike?
Yeah.
We've got some updates. We've then got securing Zoom. Now that's very much on point. Lots of people are using it and now they're getting very, very concerned about using it. We also have some magic that we can do in Zoom, which Mike and I have been fiddling around with. So I should probably make that sound more technical, shouldn't I? Giving careful consideration to this week. And we just received an email. And everything that we've suggested, they're actually going to do. So we'll talk about that and we'll talk about the magic that you can do with it. My plan is, you're going to love this, but Mike is going to go into the other room and we are going to do live magic in Zoom. That's the plan. So let's see how that works out. Remind me we're doing that because it's not on the slide. Then last week we talked about hyperlinking in Affinity Publisher. And I only mentioned it in passing. Oh, this was in Marooned, I think. And it all got very giddy. Oh, you can do that? Oh, wow. So I'll show you how you can do it and what it all entails. Then we've got some good freebies. We put a lot of freebies this week into the Slack chat room. So if you want to go and check that out, that is macbites.co.uk/Slack. Then Mike's doing some Excel line charts. And then by popular demand, I'm doing Keynote tips and tricks. Now, I'm more than willing to take questions on Keynote. Things you might want to do with it, things you used to do in PowerPoint that you think you can't do. I'll take them live, let me know. The last thing we're going to do is build it with me. And this was something that we talked about in terms of the slides and how a presentation like the one that runs the show gets put together and put together quickly. Otherwise, I would be there all night. Tonight we have fewer slides than usual, but there's 93 of them. And they all need making. And that's pretty much a week's work, isn't it? Anyway, before we get going with the visuals on this, you need to make sure that you are in HD. So it is the cog in the lower right corner. Now, it may say at the moment 720p, but you may not see the red flash. It's all to do with YouTube. Hopefully you will see the red flash, but if not, just make sure you're in 720p. For reasons best known to themselves, they have taken the red flash off certain videos for no good reason. Just that they are attempting to reserve bandwidth and load balance over the evening. So it could be that the flash isn't there, but make sure you're in 720 anyway. And while you're at it, if you see anything that you like in the show, give us a thumbs up. It really makes a difference. So let's have a look at the week at MacBites headquarters. I can't see the chat and this isn't going to work, so I'm going to have to go and get the chat. I'll have to go to my own channel and it'll tell me I'm live, and then hopefully I'll be able to see the chat. So let me sort that out. Oh, it's not telling me I'm live. That's not good, considering I am, and it should be. So I'll have to go to my own channel. This should all be happening seamlessly, but needless to say, YouTube having a moment, it's not happening seamlessly. There I am. It's now telling me I'm going live. I'm glad about that. Oh, I've also got live stats and they're going crazy. So let's get into the chat so I can actually see it. Hide the chat. No, I don't hide the chat. Excellent. Now I've got the chat. Okay. Hello, Paul. What have we got down here? Oh, yes, the Australian contingent's growing by the moment. YouTube keeps resetting me for some unknown reason. Oh, I have no idea what it's doing. Let me just check if I've got the flag. I've got the cog. I've got it at auto, which is 480. Not brilliant. But it will go up to 720. Do I have the flag? No, I don't.
No, I don't have the flag.
So although I am actually watching it in HD, I don't have the HD flag. It's not that we're not broadcasting in HD. We are. But YouTube have taken it away at the moment. They're only taking it away in case they need to load balance. So they're still broadcasting at 720, but they're just not guaranteeing for it to stay that way. They may need bandwidth for something else, which is all understood. Thank you, Neil. Thank you. Hello, Andreas. Brilliant. Thank you. Much appreciated. So what were we doing this week? Well, all started on Saturday. Saturday was a hugely busy night. I don't actually remember the day. It's all a blur, Mike. Saturday is literally completely a blur. But I do remember in the evening, after we had done Marooned at MacBites headquarters, we went into a party. We had, with our Brooklands friends, an end-of-year party arranged. It was a local hotel. It was going to be fabulous. Yeah, now we're all marooned at home. So we did Marooned, and then we went straight into a live request show on the Brooklands 196 radio show. We started it the same time we would have started the party live. So we got going at 7:30. I'd said to Mike, I don't think they'll take more than 2 hours. Mike said maybe 3, maybe 3, which took us through to 10:30. Then I thought, well, maybe we'll wrap it up at 11. When we got to 11 and said, okay, last request. Oh, you can't stop. We're enjoying this. Carry on. Oh, you should see some of the pictures from this. We had people doing the time warp. We had them YMCAing. There was air guitar, you name it. We got to 11 o'clock. We carried on. We got to midnight and said, they'll go at midnight. In the end, 3 a.m. we staggered to bed. And only then, because we said, no more. They were still dancing away. So that was fantastic. Saturday was great. That took us to Sunday. Yeah, Sunday was, that was our story pretty much. We were asleep.
A day of rest.
It was a day of rest. It was the morning after the night before. We were dog tired, I can assure you. But we still managed a marooned from MacBites headquarters at 7 that night. Which took us into Monday. Monday was a very interesting day for me. It was stressful, Mike, wasn't it? He's forgotten why.
I have forgotten.
He'll remember in a minute. Morrison's, I was in a queue.
Oh, right.
I was in a queue. 46,117th in the queue to place an order with Morrison's. In fact, that's not even true. That was the queue to get to the website to put the stuff in my basket. 28 minutes. By the time I got in, Mike had literally just put my dinner in front of me and I'm there refreshed. Wait. I just got in. I got the stuff in the basket, no slots, so I couldn't look. I couldn't check out. So I'm sitting there, pondering dinner, I know what I'll do. For the emergency dog stuff, I'll try somewhere else. Yeah, Pets at Home. Oh, that was much better. I was only 1,529th in the queue. Remember, to see the website, not actually place an order, just see the website. Yeah, I was not pleased. That wasn't good. I didn't manage to order anything from either of those, so I gave up in complete disgust. Which took us through to Tuesday. They're going to love this one. This, although, now remember, Tuesday, not April the 1st. Tuesday was the 31st of March. I would say Mike and I had gone stir crazy, but to understand the next picture, you need to know we love Christmas. So we put the tree up. Why not? It's been 3 months since it's been up before. Why the dickens not? So the tree's up. That's the extension downstairs, our lovely fire. I adore that fire. And there's some presents under the tree as well. I think Mike's Toblerone's included there. But yeah, we put the tree up. Like I said, it's not an April's Fool. We really did.
A lot of people doing that around the world.
There are a lot of people doing that around the world, and we're crazy enough to do it. I heard tell Big Kev did as well. Big in VA. Because he loves Christmas as much as we do. So any excuse to put a tree up. So we actually put the tree up. Then we did get to Wednesday. Sadly, that was April the 1st. And it wasn't a joke. We were still marooned. I did have high hopes of Boris letting us out, but no. Now, Microsoft kept us entertained because they announced that Office 365 was becoming Microsoft 365. We had a long discussion about this on Marooned and decided not much difference. Not at the moment. There may be down the line, but right now, nothing to worry about. Move along, nothing to see. Its name will change on the 21st of April, but that's about it so far. Jonathan says, if putting the Christmas decorations up helps, go for it. Exactly. I feel much better now. When I get some toilet roll, Neil, I'm going to hang it on the tree. So there you go. I have toilet roll in my basket. It won't be there, obviously, when there's a slot, but I'll keep high hopes. Right, then we went on to Thursday. Yeah, bit of a calamity on Thursday. If you thought the entrance to this show was inelegant, Thursday's was even worse. We were running a marooned at MacBites headquarters. So what we do is I actually have a clock in front of me. That's the one I showed you last week. It's an app on an iPad and it just has a digital clock, huge letters right in front of me. I can't tell you what a help it has been just to have that there. So I have that there and about 30 seconds to go, we start to do the studio countdown to go live at 7. Which I did, and I pressed the button and I started speaking, and I glanced and I could see that the radio station was not responding. I could not get it responding. Luckily, I was talking to you guys in the chat. Can't get it responding. At which point, now Mike, it must be understood, had another meeting on Thursday night. So we just looked at each other and I said, can I hijack Brooklands? And he went, yeah, do it. So I quickly, literally 2 seconds, if that, changed from broadcasting to MacBites FM to broadcasting to Brooklands 196. Brooklands 196 was alive. At the moment, it's on a different system. That's why it was alive. So we hijacked it. We totally went on to Brooklands. You were in the chat on, if you were with us, on MacBites FM, but the audio went out on Brooklands 196. Which, funny story tonight. Do you want to tell them that one, Mike?
No.
He's totally forgotten the funny story. Well, we're running a live show tomorrow night. We're having a MacBites Marooned at 7 o'clock. We've moved it every Saturday, but it confuses people. So we're going to keep it at 7 o'clock. We've got a hard out for 8 o'clock because we're running another live show for Brooklands. So at the moment, people are sending us requests. The show we're running is called Province 17 by request. Now, a province is just a group of circles. Don't worry about it. It's just people. People will be with us. And there's a request form on the website. So Mike sent a mail out to everybody telling them that this show's going live tomorrow and if you want to send your requests in. So people are going to the website tonight and have been since he sent the mail out to send in requests. And Mike turned around to me and said, thank God they didn't go last night, because if they'd gone last night at 7 o'clock, they'd been listening to a MacBites. Minds would have been blown. But we were fine. I kept posting in that the audio was going live on Brooklands and not to worry about it. And all the chat went on that page. So everything was fine. Nothing to see, move along. It all happened and it was fine. This was Mike in Mike's meeting. There he is. Look at him at the top. So he was facilitating their meeting. Have you noticed, Mike?
A right motley crew we look, don't
I'm
we?
thinking how many look like they're asleep, bless them.
Mm.
And there's one missing down there as well. One missing, just a chair. And your iPad in on its own. But it worked really well. So that's the Zoom room. And they managed to get all of those guys in the Zoom room and everything went fine and dandy. And there's Mike in his suit and tie with his jacket. Bottom half, sweatpants. I reckon everybody else was the same myself.
Probably.
Well, pants of some description, hopefully. So his meeting went fine. Our meeting went fine. We were good, weren't we? We were good. Which takes us to today. Don't know. Has anybody seen Alex yet? Is Alex with us yet? Well, big important day in the Alex household. Happy first birthday to the lovely hashtag. Fantastic name for a dog. I'm loving it. Hashtag first birthday today. Hashtag's going to have a heck of a second birthday to celebrate, to make up for being marooned on first birthday. But brilliant. You like the one on the ceiling. There was a lot of that going on, Kim. It was like, don't hold it down there. We can see right up your nose. Everyone will get the hang of this in the end. They will. One of them, that was the story you were going to tell, Mike. One of them had to make a sudden disappearance from the room, the virtual room.
To go and get a tie.
Had turned up without a tie. Standards, gentlemen. We're going to maintain them. So, we've got an update. From Serif. Serif, we love Serif, don't we? We absolutely love them. They said they were going to commission 100 pieces. So 100 days, 100 commissions. And that's what they did. They sent this mail out today. So it's starting. And it was in response to freelancers being concerned about business tailing off in this current climate. And they're going to help out by commissioning 100 pieces over the next 100 days. So if you have a Serif account, you should already have had that mail. If not, you can go to their website and check it out. They have been supporting what's been going on with COVID for quite some time. They extended their trial from 30 days to 90 days. They also reset the date of the trial. So if you were already sort of 29 days into it, it reset and you got another 90 days for free. Not satisfied with that, they then put a 50% off everything. So they've been fantastic. Now, talking of commissions, yes, don't forget we have the MacBites Design Challenge. Now, the MacBites Design Challenge was, while we're all marooned in and you've got nothing else better to do, every MacBites has a poster. Here's some of those posters. Don't get concerned about Mike's bot. It's all Graham's fault.
I'm not concerned about my pop-pot.
Actually, it wasn't Graham, was it? It was you. Your audio went. Graham just made a song of it, which was fabulous. But those are just some of the posters that we've done over the years for MacBites. Now, some of you have already entered some. They are fabulous. We're loving them. But we're going to run this for another week. So I want more entries. We've put the names of the show. Just check that they're in Slack, Mike. Michael put the link into the post with the names of the shows. We've picked out a handful of shows, and these are shows that we don't have posters for. And we are inviting you to listen to the show, if you really want to, and then do a poster for it. Now, coming down to here, I'm going to come out.
Which channel is it in?
That's an interesting point, that.
Oh, is that it?
There it is. That's the one. I'm sure we put all the names in. I thought what I'd do is create for you a template to use. Now, I think I put one up, but what I'm going to do is show you how I actually created that. I'm going to put into this one the standard assets. So if you look on the side there, we have standard MacBites assets. So to make a template. Oh, should I make it a real template? Oh, why not? Why not? So I'm going to do File New, and obviously that gives me the new dialogue, the new dialogue, with a preset in. I'll just make the one for the standard poster size, which is 1280 by 720. But you can find the other one in there if you like. Right, first thing I'm going to do with that is make it an artboard. So I'm going to click on artboard. It's by default set to document. There's lots of other settings about when you create these. When you create your artboards, you can have it as a selection, but you can also make it for a range of pre-configured sizes. Now, I usually stick to document or selection. Document in this case because there's nothing actually there, but sometimes if I've started doing some artwork and I just want an artboard the size of the selection, I'll choose selection. Ooh, Alex is in. What shall I do? Shall I whip back to that slide? You need to wind back, Alex. Wind back. We do have facility to wind back. Wind back a bit. Excellent. We look forward to you joining us. So in this circumstance, I'll choose document. And then I'm going on to insert artboard. Mike's doing all kinds of other things while he's over there. Naughty boy. Now, when you insert an artboard, you get your artboard over here on the right-hand side in your layers panel, and the background that was quite dark changes and becomes much lighter. So I'll just call this poster, but obviously I have, if I could spell, oh dear me, if I could spell, there we go, poster. Alex is, oh, hashtag was the star of the show, Friday's star. Right, so I've got my artboard. Now, the rest is completely up to you. What you put on that artboard is completely up to you. But what I thought I would do is share some of the things that you might find useful. So first thing I'm going to do is to put a background on it. So I don't worry about it being the right size. I go down to the bottom and I put 1280 by 720 and then I put 0 and 0. And that gives me a background that I can alter. Now, I know you can do that other ways, but this allows me to put gradients in it and stuff and not have to worry about it being on the actual part of the artwork. It's part of the artwork that I can move and rescale if I need to. Right, we need it to have a colour.
Says even more O.
Excellent, Alex, excellent. Hello, Renee. Did you miss much? No, you're okay. And you can always wind it back. Right, so what I'm going to do with that is give it a useful colour. Now, what would be a useful colour? Well, I'm going to make it black because I'm going to add on to it here some assets that I use. So there's the show number. Now, I tend to make that, although it isn't in there, and it could be, anywhere from like 120 upwards. So I'll lock that background. Let's lock that background. There we go. So I was seeing that first time for you making anything. Well, Kim, it was fabulous. Fabulous. So have another dabble this week. Everyone who's put one in, have another dabble. And if you haven't put one in, try. Go on, put it in. So what I'm going to do with that is I tend to put it in one of the corners. Completely up to you, it's your design. But if I'm putting it over here, what I do is that's a group. So as I open it, you can see it's got the show number and it's got MacBites. If you grab the two things inside it and use your align to the right, then I do that when it's over on the right hand side. But that is completely up to you. So I'll leave it there on the left and I'll put it over there. So that's the show number, and all you need to do to put the show number in is double click it. And if I zoom in a bit so you can see, say you were doing it for show 69, you just go in and change that to be whatever show you want it to be. So completely up to you. I'll put 3 X's in there like that. Right, so you've got that bit. Now, what other bit would you need? I don't actually think you would need much else. If you want to put MacBites on it somewhere, then you could just use that bit at the top, or I'll drag it on so you have a MacBites. There you go. So I'm going to put the artwork on there for you to have a play around with. Right, you talked about fonts. So the default MacBites font, let's put it in there, default MacBites font is, who can remember? Who can remember it? You're 30 seconds behind me, so I'll just put it in. It is Myriad Pro. If you do not have Myriad Pro, I will include it. So I'm going to make that white so we can see it. That's the default font, but you've seen those posters. We use all kinds of fonts. So I'm going to duplicate that. Let's grab hold of that and say any font that you fancy using, completely up to you. But a good place to go is dafont.com, and you'll find free fonts at dafont.com. Let's have a look at dafont.com. Now I need a... Oh, that's been going on for weeks. I'm trying to stop it doing it, but it won't let me. So we'll just keep saying no, go away, and see how we go. So I am going to go to dafont.com and show you where I get my fonts from.
Jonathan's come up with a very good question.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever get to fill the first X into 1,000 shows? You may be surprised one day, Jonathan. However, it could be your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren who witness it. We might get there one day. We might get there with marooned, who knows? Right, so what I do here is choose a type of font. Now, fonts and audio are very difficult to find because it takes time. With the audio, you've got to listen to it. With the fonts, you've got to kind of guess what name. And that's why they categorise them at the top into groups. So you've got old school type fonts, old school. You've got horror fonts, Western fonts. Love these for wanted posters. Absolutely perfect. But the very first one is cartoon. I've gone for comic. Comic, cartoon, doesn't matter. And have a look through there. That's the kind of stuff we use. Actually looking at those, I would say it's possibly more comic than cartoon. With marooned, it's more than possible. We could still be here a year from now. There you go. That's definitely one I've used. Bada boom. We're going to pass over wash your hands because we don't want to think about things like that at the moment. This one here called Adventure is the Indiana Jones font. So I've used that one. But, you know, any of these comic type things, if it's a comic look you're going for, that's another one that I've used. Comica Axis, loads of times. Literally loads of times. So if we go to MacBites, having a think about it, and we go to shows, you see each one of the posters. So which was that one we're looking for? We're looking for Comica Axis. Not particularly that one or that one, but there's definitely some in here. There is definitely some in here that use that. There you go. There's one. Bravo Sierra and the Science of the Bin Collection. Talking of which, the change of the bin collection. I'm not happy. They're not taking the green bins, except the next day they take the black ones. This just gets too complicated. But yeah, these are the way that I use these fonts. So I've used the same font there on 3 of them. And you can find them all at dafont.com. So if you're looking for that, go up there. Now, sometimes I use something as a one-off. You can see how many different ones there are, and there's pages and pages of them. Sometimes I use one as a one-off. So one of the ones in here was this Jane Space Race and the 3-foot Toblerone. It needed to be a space type font. The Toblerone thing is the Toblerone logo with the mountain, but the font is quite unusual for a MacBites poster, and it was because of the topic. So anything goes, basically. You're designing it, you decide. You decide which ones you want to use. Okay, so that's how you get your fonts sorted out. Alex, you are very, very welcome. It's hashtag's birthday. I've got to make a big fuss of this. He's won. Or is it she? Is it he or she? Lovely dog. Beautiful dog. Right, so I've put in there the link that you can go and get the fonts from. That's pretty much all you need. So what we need to do at this point, with all of that on there, and you can of course create your own assets from those, but I've put that the default MacBites font is Myriad Pro. Now I'm not sure if Myriad Pro is available from, where's Firefox gone? No, don't tell me I minimised it. Oh, good grief, I'll be there forever. Let me go and find it. Why have I got Facebook open? Never ends well. Oh, come on. There we go. There's Firefox. And where's my fonts? Shows MacBites. Yeah, there we go. All right. So let me go back in here and see. Now I've lost my mouse pointer. Give me back my mouse pointer. Let's have a look if Myriad Pro is available in here. Myriad Pro. Possibly not. Let's find it. It is, but it's on other sites. And on other sites, are they free on other sites? Let's have a look. Oh, what are you doing? It's opening up all sorts of things all over the place. Go away. Download Myriad Pro. It's opening up separate windows off here. Maybe not. So what I'll do is show you how I'll deal with that. Right, so that's us so far. I'm going to save that at the moment. And at the minute, I'm just going to save it as a file. So I'll put it on the desktop, which it'll squeal about. Oh, it's a girl. It's like Lola. When Lola arrived, we were so used to saying good boy to a dog. We kept saying it. So we had to train ourselves. Now if we meet a boy dog, it's good girl. We are trained, aren't we, Mike?
We are.
Right, poster. Let's put that on the desktop. So that's saved. What I'm going to do now is show you that in here... No, not in there. Come on, where's the finder? That's right. Good finder. Right, in the Go, I'm holding down the Option key so I can see the library. See, don't hold the Option key, it disappears. Got it? It works. So, into here. Into fonts, not font collections. No. Into fonts. And there's all the fonts on your system. Now, I'm assuming at this stage a Mac. And these are all the comic fonts that I talked about. All the different variations of comic fonts. Hundreds of them. But we're looking for Myriad Pro. So here's Myriad Pro. Now, if you look at Myriad Pro, there's so many different variations of it. We use just the regular standard thing. What I'm going to do is right-click and compress. And there's the archive of Myriad Pro. So let's name that Myriad Pro. And now we've got fonts as well. So it's whipped back down here. There we go. So I'm going to take that out of there and put that on the desktop over there. So it's with the poster. So the assets are inside the poster, the standard assets, and the font is on the outside of it. I would take the poster and then put it in one of my templates that's way more complicated than that one, but that's enough for a template. There are other things you can do. Tell me 3 things you can put in a template. Quick. What can you put in a template that you would not put in a preset? Revision this, because we did this 3 weeks ago. Oh, yes. So, hashtags had a good day. That's fabulous. So, she was let chase the hens. The hens didn't want to be friends. I can imagine. Oh, poor lamb. Lola's like that. She likes to be let off the lead to eat mud and sticks. She's insane. But she's not let off the lead that much, certainly not at the moment. Can you imagine having to grab her with somebody else there? That nearly happened last week, and that wasn't good news. Right, so I'm watching the chat. 3 things you can put in a template you can't put in a preset. And you've all forgotten, haven't you? Do you know what I'm going to do? Mike, name 3 things you can put in a template you can't put in a preset.
Just like 3 and 10.
Yeah. He's flummoxed.
No idea.
Jonathan's saving you. Things like photos and characters. Are the MacBites assets included in the template file on Slack? I don't think they're in there, no. Paul, I think you asked for them, so I thought I'd do a new template, and there they are. So I'll put them in this one. The template that I already put up there was my full template that had all of the settings in it. You only really need to create the one, so I've done this one with the actual assets in it. Basically, in a template, you can include things as opposed to a preset. A preset's only a starting point. It only sets up for you a specific size. It gives you an option. So if we do Command and N, these are the things in a preset. The layout is in the preset, the colour is in the preset, the margins and bleed is, but no content. No content at all. A template is where you put all of the content. And if you remember, we went in and we created a template, and I said this one looks really boring. So we did it with a beautiful image. Dirty hack alert. And there's my poster set for a MacBites After Hours. So there they all are. So within here, you can take this as far as you like, which, for instance, could include a document palette, a colour palette that belongs to just this document, and it would be in your template. Let's throw one in for the sake of doing it. Add a document palette. At the minute, it comes in as unnamed, but you can go to it and you can rename the palette. If it's a document palette and I've only got one, I tend to call it document. That's what it says on the tin. But if I've got more than one, then I will put maybe doc and then whatever it is. You can tell which type of colour palette they are by the icon. Documents have a document icon. Application palettes have a serif icon. And system palettes, which are not supported on Windows, unfortunately, have the Apple logo. And then you have your extra Pantone ones. But we've created a document one. So if I just put a little shape on there... Jonathan's got excited now. He's thought of it. Dirty hacks are fun, aren't they? Dirty hacks are the best of hacks. Mike will find it for me because he's good like that. Where you go, Mike? So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to pick a nice colour. So not a sort of peachy one. Let's make it more orangey. Let's say we want that one. Right, I put it in there just literally so I can pick it up. But I go to the swatches. There's my swatch. And I can add that into here. So let's say, can we add that from there? Let's add, now I'm going to do a global colour as well. So I'm creating a global colour. So let's have it fairly orangey, deep and orangey. So at the minute, global colour 1, let's put global orange and add. And that adds that colour to here. And you can carry on adding whatever you want to there. But that is something that you can then delete this shape, go and get a completely different shape. And whether you've got any content or not, you can go in there and apply it. Why does it matter if it's a global one or not? There's a point. Why does it matter if it's global or not? I'll go on and tell you while you're thinking about it. If it's in your document colour palette, then obviously you can always go back to it. It's for when those clients, the ones that annoy you incessantly, decide they don't want that orange, it's totally the wrong orange. At which point, instead of going through and reoranging it, you go in to the colour in here and you adjust it. And because it's a global colour, it changes all of them. It can be any colour. Now it could be pink. So that's why global colours are important. We like global colours. It does stay as part of the template. Global doesn't appear in all templates, Jonathan. The point of it being global is it's global to the document, to this particular document, and anything that you have applied the global colour to. So let's say I make another shape and I just make that one white. And that's not a global colour. Even if I go into it and I make it the orange that actually matches, is that the global colour or not? Need to think about that. But if we go into here and we change the colour, yes, you applied the global colour to that one and it made it all global. But if you come over to a shape like this one and you make it white or you make it grey or you think I'll make it orange, those oranges don't quite match. Then if you go into your global colour and you start playing around, oh, it is actually working on that one. Shouldn't be, but it is. So it's a matter of changing the colours in multiple shapes in this particular file. In this particular file. Blown Jonathan's mind now. Jonathan, that must have been something we covered when you were asleep. Klaxon for Isaacs. Yeah, that's amazing because the shapes don't have to be the same. They don't even have to be on the same artboard. So actually, if I show you what I tend to do, so going to my poster set for MacBites, each one has a grey background. And that's because I've no idea what type of background I'll be using. But I also have a document palette in here. And my grey is a global colour. So this is how I would set it up. Oh, I want the background to be blue, and now I'm ready to go. And I only have to do that. Simple. Yeah, we like global colours. We love global colours. So I've just put a global orange in, but you can put in as many global colours as you like. Some people, to do that, have left shapes on the board, the artboard. And so when I say, what are these shapes for? Oh, they're to hold my colours. You don't need to do that. You can just create a global palette. So now we've done all of that and we've saved the file. We're going to go up to File and we're going to go to Export as Template. There we go. And it's going to put it with the other templates. So these are my other templates, but I'm going to put it on the desktop. So we'll call it MacBites Poster. And there we go. So if I send that to you, you can use that template many times as you like, create as many posters as you like. I'll also put in the file in case you've got an older version, but that you might have problems if you're an older version. If you do, let me know. But what I'm going to do with this lot is zip the whole lot up. So let's go to compress. I'll show you behind the scenes how I would work this. You know, when I say Mike, do X, this is what happens. So I'll call this MacBites poster template. Now I could do it myself, but I might as well have Mike doing something. Right, so what I tend to do with this, when I want Mike to do a job with something, I've got to get it to Mike. So to show you, this is how we do that. I go up to here and I'm using an old version. What's the app called? Drop something.
Zone.
So Drop Zone, that's the one. I'm thinking of Drop Share. Drop Zone. And you see drops for Mike? All I need to do, send it to Mike. He's going to deal with that now. Can you apply a template to an already created file? That's an excellent point, Paul. No, but you do it the other way around. You take the content that's in your existing file. You can take an entire artboard, you copy it, go to the template file and then paste it in. As long as the size is the same, you won't have any problems with that. So let me show you that. There's what I've already created in here, and there's our template. This one at the top is my 1280 by 720. If you remember, I have them all labelled on a layer called Notes that I toggle on and off, just in case I'm not sure. So I would zoom into that one, but I've done my artwork in here, and now it's like, I shouldn't have done that. But what I can do, there's an artboard in there ready and waiting, and it's selected. And the fact the artboard is selected is important, because with it not selected, it will just paste it in the middle of everything. But if I go back to my poster and I select the content of my poster and copy, and I go into here and make sure my artboard's selected, should just be able to paste it in and I'm done. And now the content that I created outside the template becomes part of the template. So it's actually quite simple. If I've decided I don't need the black background, toggle that off or delete it, and my content sits on top of what was already in the template, including that.
Where do you want it?
Right, we'll put it in Slack. Let's put it in Slack, in the same channel as the other one. Yeah. Yep. Repost the shows that we were looking for with it, the ones in the competition. So it's all together. And put the other one up as well, the old one. Let's give him lots of work to do.
The old what?
Download the template that was already in that Slack channel with the instructions. Put the two templates up with the instructions in that channel. Can we manage that? He's looking a bit dubious.
They're already in the Slack.
I know, but we want them nearer the top of the Slack channel.
Right.
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 The font is on its way to you guys. The font is on its way. So you'll be able to install it. That'll work on Mac and PC and even iOS if you want. So you can create a way. Can't wait to see these. So I just thought I'd show you how to actually make the template in here and all the bits and pieces that will come with it. And away you go. There's some fantastic ones there already. Can't wait to see the others. I'm getting a deep sigh from Mike over here. Why am I getting a deep sigh, Mike? No, I don't want you to do that. I want you to go to my desktop. That's what I want. And yeah, we'll just put posters, right? It's all saved. Right, let's come out of that. Right, so now we've blown Alex's mind and we've blown Johnny's mind. Let's see who else's mind we can blow tonight. Let's get back into here. Right, securing Zoom. Right, the problem with Zoom has been, Zoom's fabulous. Everybody loves Zoom. Everybody loves Zoom because there's a free account. And they're relaxing restrictions to such a degree, I haven't seen any other platform mentioned with the general public talking about it. Obviously, most of us are doing conferences of some description at the moment, and we're using Teams or Skype for Business. Maybe you're using WebEx, GoToMeeting, Big Marker, you name it. But Zoom's the one everybody's talking about. It does help when Boris uses it. People start to say, what's Boris using and stuff like that. So because of that, more people are using it. And as soon as more people are using it, you have to think about security. And what's happening is that you're getting Zoom bombed. Now, I had a fabulous photo, not really safe for work. I think I'll put it in Slack. But there's etiquette, there's best practice, and then there's actually security that you can control and the security you can't control. Now, Mike sent me, so I'm going to go out of this now and go into the black hole. Drops for me. Way. Right, so Mike's transferred to me exactly the same way I've just transferred to him. So we have that system pre-configured and it's all ready to go. So Mike has sent to me this that he just received. I'd show you the one I have received, but I haven't received one yet. So they've literally just sent this out. I don't know if they're sending it to everybody with an account or only people with a paid for account.
Tracy wants to know how to send a poster.
How do we send a poster? People have been putting it in the Slack channel. Which channel was it? Random. Critiques. People have been putting it in the critiques channel, but if you just want to ping it to me, that's absolutely fine. Carrier pigeon, anything. Any way that suits you. If you've got any problems, let us know and we'll give you an email address or something like that. Oh, there's a non-pro version. I did not know there was a non-pro version of Myriad. Anyway, you've got the pro version now. Where you go. So Neil's education department signed up last week and they get unlimited usage. They do at the moment. They started off with about 6 countries and they've now taken it up to virtually everywhere on the planet. Were you about to say something, Mike?
No.
No? Okay then. Yes, well, everybody seems to have got this but me. So I thought I'd use Mike's to show you. So what they're doing is they're flipping the switch on some of the security I was going to show you tonight. Now, you may not want that. It very much depends on your circumstances. What the approach Zoom had taken so far was to make it as insecure as possible, as easy as possible for people to get in and join conferences. But they have realised that there is this scope for Zoom bombing. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, hey, I'm scared, what's Zoom bombing? Zoom bombing is a little bit like bluejacking, when people started to hijack Bluetooth. I regularly get told there is a new Echo device that I can connect to. It's not mine, it's the neighbour's. So I could, and then I could play alarmingly loud rock music, frighten them to death, because it would give me the opportunity to do that. So what Zoom bombing is, every Zoom meeting has a meeting ID. And the meeting ID is a series of characters. It's a little bit like a phone number. People can guess them. They just put random numbers in. And sometimes nothing will come up. Sometimes a meeting will come up. And if you have no security on your meeting, so what that means is that somebody has, good evening, Pete, that somebody gets, they set up a meeting, they've got this number, somebody tries it, no security at all. You just go straight into the meeting. All you need is the meeting ID. Now, that's the same as somebody knowing your home phone number, isn't it? And they could call you and be very annoying. That's exactly how it works. So until today, Zoom have worked on an honour system. If it's not your meeting, leave it alone. Today, they've flipped the switch and gone completely the other way. So what they're saying is that from Monday, they have chosen to enable passwords. That was something else I was going to show you how to do. That's going to be turned on by default. So there is going to be a password required to get into any Zoom meeting. They have also turned on the waiting room feature, which we discussed a couple of weeks back. We were so ahead of them. So there's this waiting room feature, which means that nobody can get into your meeting, even if they know the password, without you choosing to let them in. Now, what it's saying there is your previously scheduled meetings, so the ones that already exist, will have a password enable. But if they're joining via a meeting link, there won't be any change to how they join them. So this then depends on how you get the link to your attendees. But for attendees who join by manually entering the meeting ID, they're going to need the password to access the meeting. Next week, this is going to cause complete havoc because people will already have registered for meetings and they will be unaware of this. So what they're saying is for attendees joining manually, you'll have to reshare the updated meeting invitation. What that will do is it will pass to them the password they will need and hopefully the instructions about it. So it tells you there how to actually do that. So I'll show you today, because at this point, those are not rolled out. I'll show you where they are controlled and how you can deal with it. Then it's saying about the virtual waiting room feature is going to be automatically enabled, and it actually shows you the option and tells you what it is. Because although it's been there in Zoom since forever, have you ever been to one where there's a waiting room enabled in Zoom? Because I certainly haven't.
No,
No, every single one I've gone straight in.
I might have been, because some of the companies I work with do it.
Well, in your business, I would understand it because you're in big pharma, so maybe. But I've never actually seen it because it's not enabled by default. Right, now Mike's business had decided they were going to do exactly that. So the steps that Zoom have taken are the steps that most companies have decided to take. So they then goes on to tell you how that you can enable this or disable this, I presume. But obviously, if you choose to disable this to make it easier for people to get in, which is incredibly important if you've got like 97,000 people trying to get into a room, you don't want to transfer each one manually. If you choose to turn it off, then they're not going to take responsibility if you're Zoom bombed. So I can understand it. They could do with updating their stuff in terms of allowing you to add multiple people from the waiting room. That's how Adobe Connect works. So they're going to have to think about things as Zoom. But it's telling you here what you do with it. So how do you admit participants to the meeting? I will show you that. Well, Mike will show you that. Depending on, we've not actually totally rehearsed this bit, have we?
No.
Not had
not
time. But Mike's going to run a meeting and he's going to give me a link. So I should be able to share with you what happens when all these things are set up and how it's different than it was the last time we looked at it, because this is now compulsory. Oh, look, they have added an admit all option. Excellent. But before you use that, I would seriously check out who is in there waiting before you do it. So that was the mail from them. Those were some of the security features I was going to show you. So I'm going to show you the Zoom app. Right, let me catch up on here. What's Pete been up to? Mandatory walk to find a takeaway. Oh, what have we become? I've got stuff in a basket, and I'm going to try and check out live later, Pete. When checking out with your supermarket order becomes a demo, what the world has come to. Right, okay, so this is the Zoom app. Must admit, I hadn't, with this myself, I hadn't run Zoom meetings, I use other systems. So although I knew there was an app and I'd seen it briefly, I didn't really bother with it. You do not need this app at all if you are, well, no, you don't need to go into this app the way that I'm looking at it right now, unless you want to run meetings. Now, you can run meetings that you invite your family to. So you could have 50 members of your family in a room for 30 minutes and it doesn't cost you a thing. So that's why it's become incredibly popular. But if you are using this to run meetings, then I do suggest you become familiar with the interface of this. Mike and I got dumped in at the deep end when we'd been using every other system on the planet, but not Zoom. And then everybody wanted Zoom and they didn't want anything else. So we went through it all and it was quite alarming in terms of not all the options are available in here. We were astounded. There are secret hidden options elsewhere. And the secret hidden options elsewhere are nothing short of amazing. Why are they hiding them from us? Possibly for a good reason. But basically, what you're looking at here, not everything. So I suggest the way we do it is that Mike goes and, well, you could set the meeting up in here, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And you could send me an invitation. And then I can show them what happens on the invitation. And once I accept the invitation, etc., it should actually come into here and come up as a meeting. Now, in the meanwhile, right, I just got caught up with the fact that Pete was away from home in non-luxurious accommodation. Neil wants to know if you've used the remote control feature, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorted that out, have we? Alex, give us a second. We've not rehearsed this. So Mike's setting up a meeting and he's sending me an invite. Once we've got the meeting ID, yeah, and that should show you in the lobby. So we'll do all of that again. Right. Let's carry on. Oh, yep. We do need a round of applause for Pete while he's here. We did do a round of applause in one show and Pete wasn't actually here. So that didn't work very well, but we did it anyway. But we'll do it right now. So you'll hear me and Mike. We appreciate all of your efforts. And as Pete has said to me, there's other people supporting the front line as well. All the truckers that people have been criticising for years and years. Yep, not criticising them now, are they? Not when they've got your toilet rolls. So hopefully this will go on long enough that the world will tip on its head. And all those so-called professions that aren't in the slightest bit interesting or useful will all wither and die. And all the money will go to the NHS and everybody will become a doctor or a nurse. That's my best hope for all of this. We'll see how it goes. Right, so dinner's a £2.50 burger. Very classy, Pete. Very, very classy. I'm loving that.
Right.
Didn't I say when I was in hospital with you, Mike, that the doctors and nurses were coming out and they were going to this machine and I thought, oh, it's probably got sandwiches in it and fresh stuff. And when I went over to it, no, it had Coke and rather revolting looking sandwiches in it. I think they deserve better. And chocolate. Yeah, they were living on that. What can I say? Yep, everybody needs support. Everybody needs support right now. There's lots of people doing it. You send the email, I'll get it in my browser, I'll show it to everybody, and then you dive next door and start your meeting. Diving next door involves going into the studio. So he'll be heading into the studio where he's logged in. He won't be having a certain suit and tie on. No, did that yesterday. Won't be doing that again. So I'm going in and getting this. Oh, you're very, very welcome, Pete. No trouble at all. Anything that you need, you know where we are. Right. That was just sending me the newsletter, you know. We did not send in a thing to the church for the GDPR thing, and she's used my email address anyway, but whatever. But she has BCC'd me in, so she's learnt the BCC. We're doing great. We're doing great. That's fantastic. We've been going around pushing it through people's doors, though, haven't we? Right. You're going in there to start the meeting, and I'm going to join you. So this is what it looks like right now.
I better leave the door open.
You better had, so you can hear me. Yeah. You never know, you might hear me. There we go. There we go. So he's invited me to a Zoom meeting. Now, this is an invitation. Now, there is a difference here. I've got the meeting ID and I've got the password. He's put a password on, bless him. But it's not asking me to register for a meeting. So one of the things you can do is instead of you actually sending the mail like that, you can force people to register. And if you do that, then they have to put their name and email address in to register and then that comes through to you. So what I need to do is either use the meeting ID or click on the link to get into it. So I'll click on the link. Now, it did prompt me in the background here. If nothing prompts from the browser, download and run Zoom. And this was what I was saying, that even though there are security issues, people don't care. People don't care. Because they've already downloaded and installed it, and that's all they care about. Right, so this is Mike's meeting, waiting to start. If you're the host, sign in. Well, Mike's doing that next door. So it's just a matter of waiting for him. If I'd wanted to schedule it, or I'd done the booking thing with Mike, if Mike had invited me to register, Mike's in Studio 1, I'm in the office. If I'd booked on the meeting rather than being just sent in a mail that says, hey, there's a meeting, then it would have appeared in my upcoming meetings today. It would be in there. Right, are you in there yet, Mike? You can't hear this. He's just shouted back, no, it won't let me in the meeting, and it's his meeting. Do you know the password, Mike? He's just said, hang on. Gotta love demos like this. You know, I mentioned they'd made it more secure. Yeah, Mike can't get in his own meeting. Fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. Love it. I'll just have a quick drink while we wait and see what's going on with Mike in there. I tell you what, I'll leave that on one side. Just let me know, Mike, when you're good and ready. Right, in here, when you come to make a new meeting, you've got down here... it needs to install a new version of Zoom. I only updated today. Shall we see if mine does? Check for updates. Let's see. No, I'm up to date. We'll rib him about that when he comes back in, won't we? Rib him in the chat. Right, what I was saying in here, if you wanted to do... Oh, this has logged... Oh, yeah, there we go. I can't do anything in here while I'm waiting for Mike to start this meeting, but you would go to a new meeting. You would create it through there. Maybe I can schedule a meeting in here. Here we go. Right, so this is when you're scheduling a meeting. So half of the things I can show you in here. One thing to think about. Right, these have been turned on already. Your account requires you set a password for your meetings. So these have been turned on already, even though I haven't had the email. But we went through all of this. We went through picking a date and picking a time, picking a date for the end of it and a time for the end of it, and whether you want it to be a recurring meeting or not. So if it's a daily stand-up or something like that, you might want it to be recurring. Benefit of that is when you get the appointment and put it in your calendar, it puts the lot in and you're done. You can generate an automatic meeting number, or it will use your personal meeting ID, which is your PMI. Now that is my PMI and I don't use it because obviously it's splashed around all over the place. So I would generate one automatically. As you can see, it's requesting a password, which I didn't set. But I was going to show you guys tonight, and this was before the email came in, what you could do to secure it. So obviously requiring a meeting password is one of the things you can do, and now it's front and centre and turned on automatically. A couple of other things to think about. This is the not safe for work video I so wanted to show you. In the video section, whether the video is turned on or not is up to the person who sets up the meeting. You have a think about that. You join a meeting, and yes, you can turn your own video off, but it will be on by default and it will be on before you can turn it off. I'm sure you can guess what was on this video that I found. It was a meeting in Zoom with all the little squares, and in the lower right hand corner there was this guy. And obviously the host had decided to do that. Turn the video on for participants before they join. He'd probably done that as well. But this guy is in the lower right hand corner trying to log into this work meeting. You could see he didn't have a shirt on and he's bending over the computer trying to log in, completely oblivious that his video was on. He then moved away and he had a bowl of cornflakes in his hand and he was stark naked. Yeah, don't do that. It's rude. Leave the videos turned off. You can always request that people turn your videos on. This was one of my complaints about Zoom years ago. It was a funny video, but you would not want to have been that person, would you, Jonathan? It was bad news. I just think it's just etiquette. Don't do that. Even when we've got a room full of 80-year-olds, which Mike does on a regular basis, they are more than capable of replying to a request from the host to enable their video. Just to give them a little bit of time to not be freaked out that, oh God, I'm on video and I don't know what I'm doing here and I don't know what to press, and you can see the fear. So let them turn it on. You send them a request. Make sure in here you turn it off. Don't ever do that. That's bad. Now, if you have a free account, traditionally you have been able to have telephone and audio, computer audio. But they're telling people on free accounts at the moment, to stick to computer audio because they can't guarantee it. They just can't keep up with the demand. So you might want to limit that to computer audio. One thing I'm going to show you, should we ever get into this meeting of Mike's, he's still trying, bless him, is what you do if you need more people, particularly people who don't really need to participate in it, maybe just observers. Because if they're in a meeting, so maybe you're having a town hall meeting with the board of directors and the rest of the company need to see it. Yeah, they need to see it, but do they need to be in the meeting? And often the answer is no, they do not need to be in the meeting. So we'll find out what you can do about that. How are you doing, dear?
Not very well.
You can't get in.
It's in trying to install the update. And it's just sat there.
It's just sat there.
So I started from there.
Why not? Try again, dear. Can't get into his own meeting. We're talking about telephony at the moment. Then at the bottom, you've got your calendar options, and mine obviously defaults to Google Calendar. That's one of the things we're going to look at next week, moving from iCloud to Google. That was requested twice. So that's one of the things next week, which we'll be doing in the last section of the show. Right, now, the other things are hidden. So they're in your advanced stuff down here. This is where you enable the waiting room. Now, obviously, it's now enabled automatically. Oh, I've got an invitation to join a meeting.
Elaine Giles has entered the waiting room for this meeting.
I have entered the waiting room. Way. So this is what a waiting room looks like. Now, while you're in here...
And I have a choice.
Oh!
I can either see the waiting room or I can admit you.
Well, don't admit me yet because I want to talk through this.
Right.
When you're in the waiting room, you don't see anybody else who's waiting. The only thing that you've got is the name of the meeting, which is in the middle there, name of meeting, and the option down here to test your speaker and microphone, which is going to cause complete havoc because I'm broadcasting to you. So I'll have a look. I'll have a little look, see what's in there. We'll do a quick test. This will probably blow everything's mind. Right, its speaker is the same as my system. Neil says, can you join? There's a possibility you can, Neil. Just let me do the intro-y bit and then we'll see if you can get in. The microphone is my loopback pipe and you can see that that is moving. That's moving because that's what I'm actually broadcasting to you. So this may or may not be a good idea. Now, what it does want to do is automatically adjust the microphone volume. Be very careful with that. I'm not going to let it do that. No, I'm not going to let it do it because Skype does that and it causes complete havoc when I try and broadcast to you. I need complete control of the microphone. I have ways to do that. I have an app up here, which is this one, Sound Source. And I need to make sure that my microphone, which is the input here, is at 100%. You remember when we looked at MacBites FM and I said always start from the left-hand side and make sure everything's 100% until the last step and control all the volume with the last step. One of my problems is Skype won't be told and starts fiddling. In here you can take that out, but what that's going to do with it turned on is try and level everything. That's the idea of what it's doing, leveling the participants and making sure that you're not too loud and not too quiet. That's the idea. So that's set up in there. That's what you can do while you're waiting. Right, at that point, I would have to wait for Mike. Just let me finish off these options and then we don't have to come back to them. So these were the options when I was creating a meeting. And this one is now enabled by default. But the thing is, look at it, it's hidden. By the time you've gone through all the rest of them, and your scroll bar's disappeared, you may miss these ones at the bottom, but now you're going to have to go in because if you don't want that waiting room, you're going to have to take the tick out of the box. You then have the option to enable people to join before the host. That's not a good idea, ever, because people will be in there chatting amongst themselves, and some people turn up like 45 minutes early. So I would always take that out. Do you mute participants on entry? Again, just as an etiquette point, yes. Not because you're being rude, just save them from themselves. They don't know that they're live. You've seen the beginning of a MacBites After Hours. I never know I'm live. So there's a 12-second gap and I don't know if I'm live or not. Right, now, another option is only authenticated users can join, which means they must have a Zoom account. That means they've given Zoom an email address, so there's less chance of Zoom bombing. But you never know. Then whether you automatically record the meeting locally or in the cloud, and you can specify alternative hosts. So that's all the options when you're scheduling, but unlike when we looked at them 2 weeks ago, they've all changed. They've literally flipped them all, okay? So what I'd say good practice is if you think you need a password, then that's going to be enabled for you. If you don't want a password, then take it out of the box. It will automatically generate when you put one in. Have the video to off. Have, I would say, just computer audio. Pick your calendar for your invites, whether you want a waiting room or not. Mute the participants on entry. And it's actually always a good idea to have a recording locally at the end. Obviously, you can use any screen recorder to record everything. This option is like a backup, and what will happen is it will store everything while you're working, and when you finish it pops up and says, do you want to save this? And it creates an MP4 for you of the whole session. There's no indication with that one, I don't believe, that you are actually recording the meeting. There's another option in the meeting to record, which we'll have a look at when we're sharing Mike's screen. So I'm going to come out of that because I'm about to be let in to Mike's meeting, hopefully. He's having a fiddle over there. Oh, the excitement. Oh, Jonathan, kids were doing that at my school years ago. I was about 13, and this girl came in with well, I'd never seen anything like it, I can assure you.
Right,
it wasn't...
You ready?
I'm ready, go on. I'm ready.
Right.
Right, I'm in. Okay, so we've got 2 participants in the meeting at the bottom there. There's the chat at the side. And I'm in. Now, that's what a lobby looks like. That's what the lobby looks like. It's incredibly plain. It would be nice if they'd enable you to brand it. But that's what it looks like. And when you go in, this is what you're then looking at. So, how are you doing next door? Because the plan was you were actually next door.
I know. I was trying to install the...
I leave him one job to do. This is what I face. Oh, dear me. Yeah, I was telling you. So I was about 13 and this girl came in with a large collection of pornography way before digital and stuck it up on the board in the RE room. That's religious education. Yeah, it wasn't greeted well. And considering it was an all-girls school as well, couldn't blame the lads for it. Oh, no. I think she got detention for the best part of 6 months. Tell you what, though, saved the biology class. Heck of an education that was. And very, very quickly. How are you doing next door? Yeah, I have no idea if you can hear me or not. Right, what I'll tell you from in here then. Once a person is in, even though it's me... Oh, he's talking. He's talking and I can't hear him. Hang on, I better turn my headphones on. I think he's in. Ooh, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Tell you what, Mike, put it in the chat and then we can all see it. Right. Can I hear myself? Excellent. Excellent. Right. Can you hear me, Mike? It would help if I unmuted myself, wouldn't it? Right, Mike, can you hear me? Well, I can hear him. I just can't hear him on the thing. So it looks like here I'm going to have to join the audio. No, leave the computer. I'm in, but I can't hear him. So I've no idea why. I think you're going to have to come back in here, Mike. This isn't going well, is it? That's crying out loud. Right, but once you're in here, even as a participant like me, which is part of the problem, you can see the invitation URL up here and you can copy it. Right, so it's been copied to the clipboard. I then go to a browser. This is the problem. I think that's going to need to be secured as well, isn't it? So let's get, didn't mean a new window, but we'll do it anyway. So there's the invitation. And again, it goes through the system and it automatically logs people in. So not exactly secure once people are in there. So something that you need to think about. It would be better if that wasn't up there. But it wouldn't be up there if something was shared. Mike, I reckon you need to come back in here. I wonder if he's disappeared. Have we lost him? No, he's back. I'm just saying how insecure it is to have that copy URL there. Yeah. It goes straight into the meeting. So anybody can copy it and send it on. Right, you should be able to hear Mike in his meeting, I think. But, well, they will, even if you're not talking in the meeting, because you're broadcasting audio on this. So, you want to share something, I presume, or do you want to invite people?
I can invite people.
Anybody can get in with that URL. So I tell you what, I'll copy that URL.
Copy the URL to the chat. And
I'll copy it to the chat, which was somewhere up here at some point. I think I had 47 pages open with the chat. There we go. There's the URL to join. So if you want to join us. Your name's going to appear in the participant list. There you go. There's me and Mike. and you can come join us. This is going to be very interesting with what I'm going to do next, but we'll see. So if you want to join us, come join us. I haven't got my video on. I'm not doing that on this call at the moment. YouTube will blow up if I try that. But do join us.
Right. I'll admit Alex?
Yes, absolutely.
And I'll admit Neil.
Hey, hello, hello, hello. Now, I don't know if anybody's going to hear you because I haven't mapped the audio yet. But what we'll do is, if you want to show your video, feel free. I'm now going to show you, we've gone through the security options you've got, which are much beefier than they were last week, but not perfect. Oh, hello, Stephen. Is that Patrick or Stevens? Patrick, Tracy. Who else have we got in here? Hey, there's Alex. Hello, Alex. Excellent, excellent. Good to see you. I'm waving, but you can't see me wave. Oh, no. Right, but everybody's appearing at the top there.
I want to see the dog.
Oh, hashtag.
There's the dog.
Happy birthday, hashtag. Let's pin the video. Oh, happy birthday. Isn't she gorgeous? She's got a definite look of Kiva. A little bit darker than Kiva, but she's gorgeous. Hello.
There's Tracy.
Hello. And there's Tracy. There's Pete. Pete's iPhone. Oh, this is marvellous.
Tracy with the dog.
Now, the only issue I've got with audio, in terms of getting audio from anybody who's in Zoom outwards, is I'd have to map lots of things. But you are all there, so we're going to see some magic. Right, we were talking about a situation where you're in a meeting, so you guys are the board of directors. Oh, you're all in charge. Fabulous. Right, but let's say you've got 65,000 people, like Mike's company, and they need to see the meeting. Oh dear. But not particularly see the rest of what's going on, just see the meeting. Now, you also don't want to pay for 65,000 licenses to join this thing, do you? So this is what you can actually do. So I'm going to move you guys off the screen. Whoa, you're on my other screen now. And I'm going to move back in with how we broadcast. There's our broadcast thing. Excellent. Now, down here, if I add... So what I want to do is take the Zoom call and broadcast it on YouTube. And there's a couple of ways of doing that. But I'm going to go for this way first. Which is, I create from here, I want another share, I want to share something. One thing I could share is the whole screen, but I can also share files and things like that from here, or screen captures. So that's one way that I can do it in here. I can create a shot and I can add things to it. Now, what I can do is take you onto a completely different screen. So we'll put you over there and we'll make it large. We're going to take you large. So I'm going to go into gallery view so we can see everybody. There's me. Right. And what I'm going to do is you can see down here, I have the ability to share my left-hand screen or my right-hand screen. And there you are on my right-hand screen. So what I can do is that, and it all gets broadcast to YouTube. In my magic, by absolute magic. Now, obviously, I would have to hook up the audio, which if I try and do it now, all heck's going to break loose. I'm wondering, shall we try it?
Jonathan's in bed watching, so he's not going to join.
Jonathan, that's dangerous. You're going to nod off. You know you are. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just see if I can get any audio out. Might work, might not. Might need to have been configured beforehand. In fact, it's not even listing it for me. Oh, yes, it is. There we go. There's Zoom. Right, I'm going to open this up. If it starts screeching, apologies. Right, the Zoom audio is on. It's going to be broadcast. So, who wants to say hello? You want to say hello, Pete? Let's turn... look, can we get Pete? Unmute yourself and say hello. Let's see if I can hear it. Yes, I think I can hear you. I'm echoey. Very echoey. But I'm sure Pete's fine.
Yeah, not too bad, hopefully.
You sound fine to me. Excellent. Right, do you want to say hello, Neil?
Hello from Australia.
Hello, Neil. It's working remarkably well, although I'm probably echoey.
You are echoey.
I'm very echoey. That's because I've got to... there's no other way to do this. Nope, there's no other way to do it. I'll just have to be echoey. Who else wants to say hello? Tracy, do you want to say hello? Just have to unmute yourself. She's having a think about it. Give us a wave. She's been quiet. Okay. So that's one way that you can have a meeting. Let me turn off the audio, then I won't be echoey. Right, I've got double muting here. Mind you, this is complicated, you know. This is very, very complicated. Right, what I'm doing there is sharing a screen via Wirecast, but I'm actually sharing Zoom. And as long as you wire the audio up correctly, that's one way to do it. Now, there's another way to do it. What if you want to do the complete opposite? What if you want to take what you're doing, so MacBites After Hours...
Hobby's watching a film.
That's okay then.
No, she's on mute.
What you want to do is take what we're doing, which is MacBites After Hours, and broadcast that to Zoom. Now you might say, well, why would you do that? Because you're doing it on YouTube. I am, but what if I wanted to do a paid for webinar and I wanted it private where people paid to log in? There's something to think about, and there's a way to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to sharing my main computer screen. So I'm in my broadcast suite. My broadcast suite has the ability to take an input. Let's have a look at this. Am I doing this the right way around, Mike? I want the Zoom stuff in here. So basically what's going on in Zoom, I want that in here, or what I'm doing in here, and I want that in Zoom. And what I've got in here to be able to do that is, in my output, I have a virtual camera. And if I want to send what's happening on here to Zoom, the first thing I need to do is to flip my camera. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, just depends. So I'm going to flip it, and then I'm going to do the virtual camera out. So we'll start that. So that's going out, and it's taking my main screen, which is on here. And it's made that an input. Now, you need to see this, and this is where it gets complicated. Very, very complicated. Right, what I'm going to do here, in fact, that's not good news, Mike. Oh dear. That's not good news at all. What you're seeing now is something very small. I had not thought about that. I will have to fix that. But we'll get this started first, which is we'll bring this back on, where this is our Zoom thing, and we'll make that full screen. But you're not seeing it full screen at the moment because Wirecast is having a moment with itself. I'll try and fix that. We'll just leave it like that for the moment. Down here, I have a start video. And you'll see what I've actually got down here is the Wirecast virtual camera. So I've got my webcam, I've got a virtual camera, and I've got this one. So I have that. So at the moment, this is me at the top. But if I want to start the video, now can you see what I've got? I've got my screen, and I'm broadcasting my screen to you guys. So if I take that one out of the way, what's happening in the Zoom room is the Zoom room people are seeing exactly what we're looking at here on my desktop.
I'm hearing you twice.
That will happen. That will happen.
Should I mute you in Zoom?
I'll mute myself in Zoom. There you go. And then you won't hear me twice, which would be terrible. So basically what I'm showing you is that you can take what you're sending to Zoom and broadcast it to YouTube. You can take what's going on your desktop and broadcast that to Zoom. So you can do amazing things with this. These were the added bonus extras, which might actually have broken something at this point. But I'm going to think about that later rather than worry about it. Right, now, this is where we need to go into a browser. So what I'm going to do now is try and fix the fact that I've broken this. So I'm going to try and add in another video capture. Screen capture, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do my screen, I hope. Where's my screen? Because my screen's gone funny. My screen's gone small. Can you just confirm, Mike, you're seeing a black border around my screen? I'm gonna think we're right. Perfect. I've managed to fix it. No idea how I did that, but never mind. Right, so I was saying to you, all right, what if you've just got Zoom? What if you don't have all the fancy smanchy stuff I have, which is Wirecast, £1,000? What if you've just got Zoom and you want to broadcast to YouTube? You can do it. Mike and I had the interface of this upside down last night, didn't we, Mike? Upside down. Well, which was when we discovered it's not in here. It's in Zoom. So I'm going to show you how you enable it. By default, it's not there. So if you're in Zoom right now and you can see the bottom of the screen, you should see you've got a record button, but you may not have the fancy stuff. So let's go and have a look. So Zoom.
Zoom is mirror image.
In that case, it didn't need to be done like that, did it?
Yeah.
Is the main desktop okay now?
No, it's in Zoom. It's back to front.
Well, I can't have it both ways, and I need
on
it.
YouTube, it's okay.
I need the right way on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry about that. Zoom won't let me do what we need to do. But let me get into Zoom. Come on. And don't have me logging in. Okay, have me logging in. Right, my account. Now, Mike taught me through all of this last night, which was, was it account management or user management? I do believe it was account management. And when you go into account management, you've got a whole lot of options. Was it account management or was it advanced, Mike? We've got all kinds of stuff here. Have a good night's sleep, Pete. You need some sleep. Right, where's that option, Mike? Which setting was it in? Because I don't want to go into billing.
Which one are we talking about?
The one last night where you can see your Facebook and your YouTube.
It was settings. Settings up.
Oh, settings up there.
Yeah, and then advanced.
And then you go all the way down. And Mike said there's a lot of them. So just really to point out, look in here, how much stuff you've got to go through. And this is not the stuff. This is totally separate from Zoom. If we look in there, that's the Zoom interface. We're now in the browser logged into the account in Zoom. So I'm scrolling down. Most of these are off. If you look at them, you've only got a handful turned on. This is the require a password for instant meetings that's now turned on, and require a password when scheduling new meeting. So these options in here, Zoom are treating as the secret options that they can turn on and off globally, which is fine, but so can you. So tonight I was going to show you how to turn them on because they weren't on by default. Now I'm showing you where they are in case you want to turn them off, because Zoom have changed everything and they are there and they are enabled. Right, so let's go down here and keep going. How far down was it, Mike? It was in meeting advanced, I think. Yeah. So I'm going down. You can see just how many options, whether you save the whiteboard, whether you disable desktop and screen share for users. Now, something like that option there, which is that one. When we had our first meeting with the Brooklands guys and girls, somebody came on and they thought for us to see them, they had to share their desktop. So they shared their desktop. We didn't disable it. They were luckily only reading the Daily Mail, but we saw everything on their desktop.
Could have been much worse.
Oh, it could have been much, much worse. Okay, so you can disable that. Again, that's one of the things that's in here, but it's not in there. So you need to know about these options. So if you keep going down, you get to in meeting advanced. These are the important ones. You may want to do this. So the first option in here is a breakout room, whether you allow the host to split the meeting participants into separate, smaller rooms. Now, let me know in the chat. Have you ever been anywhere where there's been a breakout room? They can be incredibly useful. I've been in things where they've split you out into groups of 3, and it's just easier to talk. So if you've got a Zoom account and you're thinking, I thought you could do breakout rooms, not without that enabled in here, but they don't tell you that all of these options are in here. So one option in there is the breakout room. You can also do remote support with one-to-one. You can enable that option. Again, it's off by default. Closed captioning's off by default, whether you save them. Let's keep going down. Group HD video is not enabled. Let's do that as well. Why not?
Yeah, Paul has breakout rooms.
Breakout rooms can be really useful. It literally just separates you out. So it works well in situations like education, where you would normally put people in a small group to discuss something. You can put a timer on it, so maybe 10 minutes, and then everybody comes back into the main room. The only thing to be careful of is some people don't mind attending sessions, but they're quite concerned when it comes to like, oh, I don't want to turn my camera on and I don't want to go into a breakout room. They get quite nervy about it. So keep them informed as to what and why, and the fact there's nothing to be afraid of. Right, so you can enable that. Now, virtual backgrounds is something that we've talked about. We demonstrated that. again, that needs to be turned on at system level for it to work. The attendees also, irrespective of it being turned on at system level, the attendees also need to have computer equipment powerful enough to support it. So if the option is enabled in here, but your attendees are telling you that they can't see it, then it could be that their device isn't capable. Most iPhones are, but as Mike found out to his cost, High Sierra isn't. You need Mojave at a minimum. So if you're on a Mac, you're going to need to think about that. Right, keep going, keep going. They've got all these things in here. Keep going. Keep going. There's the waiting room. So this one's going to be enabled by default next week. Waiting room attendees can't join a meeting until they've been through there. So that one's going to be enabled. If you want to turn it off, this is where you come to do it. There's also the option to show a join from your browser link, whether you want that turned on or not. But the biggie for us and the biggie for you, that option there controls that. That's going to save you £1,000 because that's what we have to pay to go live to YouTube. But now you could do it this way. I've seen people do it. Quality's not bad. Only caveat, you have a Zoom watermark in the lower right-hand corner. But it is saving you £1,000. What you do is you start your meeting in exactly the same way, but you get an option to broadcast it to YouTube. Now, it looks like Mike hasn't enabled that because I'm not seeing it. We'll go into my meeting and we'll do it in there. But the first thing you need to do is put the ticks in the box. So there's 4 ticks to think about. There's, do you want to live stream to Facebook? Now, although it says meetings, I have actually seen people deliver training like this, just a one-to-one training session, or, you know, them talking to a camera and they're going live to YouTube at the same time. There's nobody in the room with them. You can do that even on the free account. It counts as broadcasting to one person. So it counts as one person in the room with you. So if you have an account that has 100 seats and you've got 100 people in the room, you're not going to be able to do that. You need to keep one seat free to broadcast to Facebook. The next option is Workplace by Facebook, which is basically Facebook for work, which Mike has where he is. And I think you've done that before, but not using this.
Yeah.
Oh, let's try it next week and I'll record you. I'm liking that. And the third one's the most important as far as I'm concerned. If you wanted to do live streams like we're doing now, then you would need to put the tick in the YouTube box. The other option you have is a custom live stream. So if you want to go somewhere that isn't Facebook, Workplace or YouTube, you can do, but you would have to enable the custom live streaming option and then make sure that you put the right information in at the other end. So services that you might need that for are Wistia. Wistia does that. What's that other one? The hosting service, not Wistia. Vimeo. So you would need that if you wanted to live stream to Vimeo. But once you've put the tick in the boxes in here, you are good to go. That is all you would need, a free Zoom account and a tick in that box, and you could do what we use Wirecast for. So that is where you need it. Problem is, obviously, it's in there, and you think, it should be in my settings, because when you go into your app, where we've been behind here, there's a million settings. Look at them, hundreds of them. We automatically assumed everything was in there. Look at them all. But no, they're not. You can enable the background in here, but the person at the other end, the one who's running the Zoom meeting, can actually have that disabled, and in which case you just won't see it. So there's lots of things in here, but nowhere near all that you can do. They are in your Zoom account. Now, obviously, the settings that are in the Zoom app are available to people without an account. That may be why they've split it this way. To get into here, into zoom.us.profile/settings, you need to have an account. But these settings in here, I would suggest you go through with a fine-tooth comb for 2 reasons. One, you want to know exactly what's happening in your Zoom room, particularly in terms of security, but also you may find things in here that will solve another problem that you had no idea it did. So do go through all of those options. So we've done the security options. We have done the special secret options that enable magic to happen. So let's get that out of the way. I'm going to leave this meeting, Mike. So I'm going to come out of there. Do you want to leave the meeting? Yes. So I'm out of that other meeting. But what I'm going to do is I'll go to my meeting. I'll do my, I'll just do a standard meeting. So I'm just going to join this. So it's going to be my own meeting and I'll be sharing it with you through this interface. But what I wanted to show you was, because I turned, and you'll see on mine, it starts recording automatically, top left-hand corner. What I'm interested in is what's happening down here. This is the pause option and the stop recording, if you want to do that. But this more option down in the corner, did you have that on yours or did you enable it? Did you have that more option? Because all I had was half the options.
I think I did have a more.
Once I went into it, I had these options. So live on Facebook, live on Workplace, live on YouTube. And what that will do, it will do exactly what you saw me do, take the Zoom meeting and get it onto YouTube. You saw the meeting. But it will do it without Wirecast. You don't need Wirecast, Ecamm Live, OBS. You don't need any of the others. You just need a free Zoom account. Now, obviously, it's realised I'm talking and it muted myself. So I'm going to say record without audio. And I'll accept that's absolutely fine. Because what I'm showing you is these interesting things on here, whether you want to go live on YouTube, live on Facebook, or live to Workplace. So that just isn't there unless you've ticked that box. But the question I would ask is, why aren't they telling you there's a box to tick? You wouldn't have known there was a box to tick. Now you know there's a box to tick. You too could do an after hours. If you do, invite me to it. Invite me. I'd like to sit there and watch one. We could do this, Mike. We could pass round after hours. Who knows? So that was just what I wanted to show you in there. When I come out of that meeting, this is what happens. It says, if you want to keep the meeting open, blah, blah, blah. No, I want to end it for all. And then it's automatically converting the recording and it will open up where it has put it. And where it puts it is here. And you have a few things there. You have an MP4 file, which is the video. So in here, if I bump along, there should be a video. That's probably the video. Let's try the audio in here. No, I've got the audio only one. There we go. That should be a video. I might need to leave it a bit. But that's what you get in terms of playback. So you get a copy of what you've recorded. So, point being with that demo, let's get back into here and get out to another demo. Yeah, I missed the slide, but that's what we were doing. We were extending Zoom. So what I intended to show you was one, security, which is now going to be enabled by default. If you want it the other way, turn it off. All the settings that I showed you. But the second thing was using Zoom in a way that they clearly now don't intend you to do. But you can do if you go into the settings and you enable it. And that will enable you to go live. Right, let me catch up with the chat on here. Don't have the streaming option. You're on a free account. I would have thought it should be available on the free account. I would have thought so because I know people who do it. So have another look. Do you need to enable it? Is it just not there to enable? Mine is now a paid for account. So there's a possibility.
It's not on the free account.
Well, it was. They must have taken it off.
Oh.
That must be one of the things that went when they reined it in because it got so popular. So, okay, that's going to need to be a paid for account, but it's still a lot cheaper than Wirecast. Trust me on that. Wirecast, £1,000 and £100 a year subscription. Right, Alex is saying, got one tomorrow, called it a speakeasy. Oh, that'd be fantastic, Alex. Absolutely. Send us the link. Can't we?
No.
Oh, we've got a live show tomorrow night. Oh, no. We've got a live radio show tomorrow. Send the link anyway. We'll see if we can do both. Not there to enable. Well, they must have taken it away, Paul. It used to be. I know people who've used it. And scarily for them, they were running their YouTube channel on it instead of Wirecast. So they're going to have a problem. They're going to have a problem. We paid for it last week after, about 10 days ago after the last demo. It is much cheaper and it gives you the option that you could take it for a month and try it. We bought Wirecast so long ago. And the thing with Wirecast is if you wait until their Black Friday sale, they usually give you something healthy off it, like 20%, 30%. I think I got it at 45% off. So we paid for the first one when it was around the £700 mark, but got 45% off. We did the updates, and they were about £149. But then they went subscription, and I was terrified. I knew they were going subscription, and I said to Mike, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But when the subscription came out, it was £99, and they do update it literally every 6 weeks or so. OBS is free. Problem with OBS is you've no idea if it's going to be there tomorrow. It has been there so far, but OBS actually got bought out. I can't for the life of me remember who. Can you just check who bought OBS? It got bought out by a company that I was worried about. They have said it will stay free, but Corel said exactly the same with Gravit, and that's disappeared. So once it was bought out, I've no idea. OBS is a good solution. It's also cross-platform. So there is a Mac version, there's a Windows version, I even think there's a Linux version. OBS is very, very good. The problem is, you invest in it, you set up everything in it, and you're concerned that it's going to be there tomorrow. That's what would be my only concern with OBS, especially now they were bought out. Mike's trying to find out who bought them out. We did discuss that, at the time.
We did.
And I can't remember. Right, I'm just going to move down a slide, because I need to see that one. Oh, that's what I was doing, hyperlinking. I was doing hyperlinking. So while Mike finds that out, let's go and look at hyperlinking. Right, let's get... Is Designer still running? Or did I close it? I might have closed it. Oh, nothing's happening at all. Okay, we have to close some of these pages. There we go. We don't want that one. Let's get into Publisher. Now, this was just something that came up on Marooned this week. I casually mentioned that you could insert hyperlinks into Publisher. And there was... Whoa! Oh, there's another update. No, I'm going to we'll do that later. It's not broken. Let's not fix it.
Logitech, wasn't it?
Logitech. Yeah. Was it Logitech?
Yeah.
Yeah, Logitech. So they are for profit. They're not for anything else. So I would be concerned what they intend to do with it. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to add some pages. So we've got 7 pages after the first page, which should give us 8 pages. There we go. And all I need to do with that is make sure that on the master page, on here, that I have frame text. I've got everything turned off, so let me get frame text on there. There's frame text, and there's frame text. And let's make sure in the frame text that that one is linked to that one. Awesome. So that's the master sorted out. That means in here I have scope to put some text. Now, wondering if I've got anything fancy schmancy to put in there. I'll show you one thing, which is if you're trying to work a layout out and you don't have the copy yet, you can in here generate text. You can insert filler text. And it will give you filler text like that, which is great. The problem is, when you go into it, you can't select it. Oh, you can select it there. Hang on. There's things you can't do with it, right, with filler text. So don't rely on the filler text except for layout. And the layout options would be something like you want to put a box there. And you're like, yeah, that's not good because the text isn't running around it. Well, you have your options up here to do that. So show the text wrap settings, which are here. And you can then say, put that round it, make it tight to it, have it inside to it. You can also up the gap like that. But that is what filler text will do. There are things that filler text won't do. So I don't tend to use filler text when I'm doing a demonstration because things don't work as intended. So if I had anything, Ipsum, that I want to demonstrate in terms of these, then I use a lorem ipsum generator. So I just head off, let me show you that, over to there, and there it is. So I go down to here, you choose the number of paragraphs, words, bytes or lists, and what it starts with, and then you just generate it. So it would actually probably be helpful if I had about 50 paragraphs, which looks like I've chosen before. Then you generate it, and there it is. And then all you need to do is go down here and select it and take it in. So although it actually looks identical to the filler text, the difference with this is it's going to let me manipulate it where the filler text won't. The filler text automatically does its own thing. And I want real text. Do you know, they should add a feature in like Word. Does that still work in Word, Mike? All right, let's take
Lorem
that.
Ipsum. Well, it's not Lorem Ipsum now.
No, it's Rand.
It's proper, no, it's proper text.
Is it proper text now?
Yeah, equals Rand.
Cool, cool. Right, so I'm going to not use any of that. Let's get rid of that. So I'm going to paste the text into there. Obviously, at the moment, you can see I have got lines in it. That's most unfortunate. You don't really want those lines. I don't want to see the spelling either. But there you go. So over here, I want with that to fill that in over here. So you see what's happened? It's automatically put the stuff in. As I go down here, it's adding it all in. So all the text that I selected, which is quite a lot, it's added extra pages even to take it. So my pages are there. So these pages that are blank are the ones that I added. I actually added the text to this one, but when I added it to that one, I held the shift key down and that added in extra pages that I needed. Right. Oh, just noticed Paul saying, if you did this sort of training for business, I'd pay for Wirecast. That's the thing. I know Wirecast have support. I know my £99 subscription means that the support is there for me. If it isn't working, they're going to hear from me. That's why we've considered looking at OBS several times, mainly so we have a backup. But Zoom can do that at the minute, so we might as well leave it alone and look at Zoom. So basically, I have a document with lots of pages, is the crux of this. So down here, I'll put, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll go get an image is what I'll do. But I'll get an image which is in my source files and hopefully, yeah, that's something we've got coming up. There it is. I've got an image to work with. It's hashtag the dog. There she is. Loving that. Don't want that. No, we want a hashtag. We want a hashtag in there and make hashtag bigger. There we are. So I've got an image on that page. Obviously, need to get the text running around it. So back into here and tell it to make it square. Get out of the way. We want to see hashtag. I can crop hashtag a bit. Not actually hashtag herself, but we can crop that down so we can focus on hashtag. There she is. The birthday girl. Isn't she fabulous? Right. Let's drag that over there. Fine. Right, so what we were looking at was, let's get back to this page. We were looking at hyperlinks. So first type of hyperlink you can do. Right, let's say I want to put in a link to MacBites. So you can read all about it at MacBites. There we go. So I have a line of text. Now, when this first started, when Affinity Publisher was first released, I just automatically thought, I'll grab this and I'll put a hyperlink on it. And I stopped at this point and thought, oh, good point. How do I put the hyperlink on it? Couldn't find it anywhere. Thought you're just missing it, bound to be there. Get onto them. They said it doesn't do it. What? Because if you want this out as a PDF or you want this out in a format that's digital in any way, obviously you need that clickable, tappable, linkable, everythingable, and it didn't do it. Now it does. It feels to me, it still feels to me like a bit of an afterthought, but you go up to text and you go down to interactive, and you have the ability to insert an anchor or a hyperlink. Well, first of all, we want that to be a link. We want it to link to MacBites. So what you do is click the option and you get this. Now, this is where I think this is a little bit, hashtag's very famous, on her birthday, no less. Right, what you need to do in here, I think it should twig that, that's the web URL. Instead of which it says, oh, hyperlink type page. So this dialog box feels very much like an afterthought to me. I would much rather this dialog box was a panel that I could have up on the right-hand side or up on the left-hand side and have this available all the time without having to go into it, because now the dialog box is sat there. What if at that point I think, oh, want to change that? Well, I can't, because it's a dialog box. It's a focused dialog box. I can't do anything now until I deal with this dialog box. That's why I'd much rather it was a panel. But the hyperlink types you have a page, an anchor, a URL, a file, or an email. Well, this one obviously is a URL. Sorry, Alex. I'll whisper in future. Right, so I've chosen URL and I'm going into there. Now, it needs a URL. Again, there's one highlighted. Why can't you read it? But, I've still got my Lorem Ipsum on. That won't do, will it? No, I don't want to put that in. But what I will do is put in MacBites. So there we go. And then you can apply a style. Now, what it's talking about here is a character style. Who's still awake? I reckon Jonathan's gone, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon he's gone. Should never have gone in the bedroom. No. Never gone in there. Right. Character style, as opposed to what? Well, we had different types of style, if you remember. We had paragraph styles, we had character styles. Now, it's not even giving you the opportunity to choose a paragraph style. Why does that matter? Would you ever need to apply a paragraph style to it? Are they assuming that the URL that you've put in is part of a block of text rather than the entire block of text?
Oh, he's awake.
Probably. Oh, Jonathan's awake. Oh, no, that's me out of the game now. Oh, we're going to have to go. We'll have to make it a mammoth one. Like the show at the weekend that was 7.5 hours, Jonathan. You'll never cope. You'll never cope. Right, down here, you have a selection of them. So Paul's put paragraph. Yeah, there's paragraph and there's character, but this limits you to character. Now, there is already a style called hyperlink. I did not create it. You saw me create this file. I did not create that. That's there for this very circumstance. So I'll leave it set to hyperlink. And we'll click OK. And that turns the text into blue and puts an underline under it. So, yeah, I'm out of the game, Jonathan. We have a lovely game where you say, oh, I think Jonathan's asleep. And if he's not, you're out of the game. So I shall hand over to the next one. Right. Now, if you wanted that to be some other colour, and to be honest, I'd leave it alone. It's a more muted blue than a usual hyperlink blue. But if your company wants it to be a different colour, then all you would need to do is to change the text style. So your text styles are in the text styles up here. There is the hyperlink style. And there will be nothing to stop you to go in there and edit it. And it's very helpfully putting these on the other screen. And in here, well, you've got your colour and decorations. There's your colour. If your company was green and you wanted a deep green like that, you could do that and it would automatically update. Not only that link, but all of the ones in the document. All of the ones in the document. So that's putting in a hyperlink. It's as simple as that. Obviously, you want to make sure that that works, but you want to make sure that works when you've output it. So, next thing to think about, let's go down to here. Now, must admit, made sense to me that I could put this on an image. The lovely hashtag. Let's see, can we do that? Because if you notice, which is why this feels so much like an afterthought, in the text, it's in the text menu. Text, interactive. Insert anchor isn't there, but insert hyperlink is. Okay. So let's insert a hyperlink. Should we put Facebook on that one? Because I see hashtag on Facebook. So let's put a hyperlink out there, an S / to facebook.com. Right. So it's a URL type of hyperlink. There's the URL. You'll notice the character style is not available. That's because it's not text, and therefore you can't style it with a character style. So okay to that. Theoretically, that should have made that a hyperlink. We'll find that out later, whether it worked or not. Still, to me, though, if I'm adding a link to an image, I don't want to go to the text menu to do it. So Affinity, yeah, need to rethink that one. Right, so I've done a link. I've done a link on an image. Let's get back up here. Right, other thing you could do, you remember. Let's go down here and put something in. Right, so I'm going to put another one, which is read about it, all on page 7. Right, so I need a link to page 7 of this document, page 7. Go back to text, go down to interactive, go in and insert a hyperlink. Not a URL this time, a link to a page. Which page? Page 7. Now, remember, that might not be page 7. And what I mean by that is, it could be page 10 in the document because the first 3 were a table of contents and they have a different page number scheme. So be careful where page 7 actually is. We'll find out. And OK to that, we'll have it as a hyperlink style, which will be green until we tell it otherwise. So 1 external hyperlink, 1 internal hyperlink, 1 image with hyperlink on. All right, let's go down to here. And in this bit here, I'm going to put some text, which is, this is hashtags page. And indeed it is. Now, if I wanted to get to that paragraph of text, not the page it's on, but the actual paragraph of text, is it good enough to put the page number? So at the minute, that's on page 6. If I wanted to link to that bit there, so on the first page here, all right, let's put one in, let's put it in under there, right. See hashtag now. So I want that to link to the picture of hashtag on page 6. You've already seen I've done a link to page 7, so why not do a link to page 6? At what point will that break? Let me know. Or maybe it won't break. Maybe you think that's totally the right thing to do. You know that that text is on page 6 right now, but what might happen? Even Mike should know the answer to that one. He's looking at something else. He's not looking at what we're doing. Now he's totally lost and looks a complete buffoon, don't you?
No.
Oh, let me see the chat.
I was looking at a page about coronavirus for my demo.
Lovely. That's fine. Paul saved your bacon, and Paul says you need to use an anchor. Right. The reason that you can't really effectively link to the page is very simple. If we put in another load of text, right, then that text would move. Oh, now it's on page 7, and your link would promptly break. So there's the problem. And Paul's quite right. You would need to use an anchor to do it. So let's get this This is hashtags page. I'm going to take out that paragraph there. So that moves up a bit. Excellent. Right. So this bit here, we could do with it being 2 things, really. If it's hashtags page and it's marking something in the text, it would be a good idea if it was a heading style of some description. So we have some styles. These are all built in by default. I'll make hashtags heading a heading 2. So it's a heading 2 just by applying a style. And then go up to text, go down to interactive and insert an anchor. And the name of the anchor is this is hashtags page. Okay. And it even displays an anchor. Now, that's important. Jonathan is awake. He said it might move. He's definitely awake. Can somebody sing some lullabies so I'm not a million miles off? Right, as the text moves, so will the anchor. So let's just go to the top of here and move that down. And what happens now is, oh, look, it's going with it. So wherever that text is, the anchor will go with it and your link will work. So let's go back to the first page. Read all about it. There we go. See hashtag and now. That's going to be our link. So up to text, down to interactive. And this time you don't want to insert an anchor here unless you want to send it backwards. But we'll talk about that in a minute. You want a hyperlink. You don't particularly want to link to a page. You want to link to an anchor. And this will show you your list of anchors. Obviously, we only have one. We've created a link to hashtags heading and OK. And now that will take you back to hashtag down here, that actual text up there. Right, is there any other kind of links you need to know about? Well, there is the concept of a backlink. If you can imagine you've got a table of contents and you click on it and it whips you down to page 7 to read something, you might want to get back to the table of contents. So let's assume after reading all about hashtag's birthday, which is most important, right, you want to go back to page 1. Right, 2 ways to think about that. Is it actually page 1 you want to go back to, or is it a specific part of page 1? If it's just generally back to page 1, then you can just put in a standard page link. But if you want to go back to a table of contents on currently page 3, but that might not be on page 3, then you need to create an anchor for the table of contents. In our case, we just want to get back to page 1. So it's a very simple link. We go to text, we go to interactive, we go to hyperlink, we choose a page and we choose page 1 and boom, we can get back to page 1. Right, we've done it. Oh, it was relatively painless, wasn't it? Relatively painless. Let me just put in one more here, which is going to be, that's actually hanging off the page. That's because we have the eyeball on. But it shouldn't be hanging off the page. It should be on the other one. I'm sure if we take out some lines, then maybe we can fix that and not have stuff hanging off the page. Where are we now? Still hanging off the page. Fabulous. Not. Let's go over to here and do that. That should sort us out. So the end of our document is here. That's the end of our text. So if I put there, end of text, can you specify a particular item in the table of contents? Would that be an anchor? Yes, it would. The table of contents, it might do that automatically. But yes, it's an anchor. The table of contents, each element is an anchor. At the other end of it, there's another anchor that it links to. So you've got an anchor going backwards and forwards to itself. So what I'm actually going to do here, that says end of text. So I'm going to put to it and go to page 1. And on page 1, we have, see all about it, blah, blah, blah. Let's put that in up there so we can see how that actually works. So we'll put start of text. And in this case, that happens to be on page 1, like that. So what needs to be what to make that work? Well, if you want to get to the end of the text, I thought we had the end of the text. Where's it disappeared to? I saw that. Don't hide it from me. You saw that, didn't you? What are you doing? Oh, I know what you're doing. Yes, totally my fault. I stand corrected. Right, I've put more text in at the beginning, which means it's spilling over. So I need to put it in there. So I need to go back to here. I need to pick that up. So get my link there, down to this one. And there we go. There's my end of text. Although it wasn't at the end of the text. Naughty, naughty. Let's get you at the end of the text. This is the end of the text. Right, so end of text, go to page 1. Right, end of text needs to be an anchor. It's a destination. So, up to text, interactive, insert anchor, and it picks up the text, end of text. That's great, because that's really quick. Go to page 1. That is, all together now, it's a hyperlink. And we need to go to page, and we need to go to page 1. So that's working too. Let's get back to page 1, and this is the start of the text. So this needs to be an anchor as well. Interactive, insert an anchor, start of text, fine. And that is page 1. Now, we don't actually need page 1, if you think about it, because we can get back to page 1 by using a page link. So let's think about this start of text. It's an anchor. Will that work? Well, it will. What might we want to do? Similar up there. We might want to get to the end of the text. We don't need an anchor for that here. We need a link from here. So back to interactive, back to hyperlink. We need to link to an anchor, and it's even picked up end of text, probably because it's alphabetical. And OK. Right, have we got everything we need? Well, that's an anchor. That's go to page 1. If we want it to go anywhere else, we can put that in. I think we're good. I think we can leave that. So all we need to do at this point is take it out in an interactive form. If you print it, there's no magic. It doesn't work. You can't tap paper. There was an April Fool's about that, but I'm not going to go into it. Okay, so Alex is saying for this function of linking, it's like a basic HTML WYSIWYG editor. It is. It's very similar to HTML. Very, very similar. I was going to say if anybody's edited HTML, you'll instantly understand this. It's all about anchors and links. Very, very straightforward. Right, so I'm going to save the file. Don't want a calamity, do we? Let's call that links. Get that saved. And we'll export it. So, file export. One interactive format is PDF. So let's get it out as a PDF and be done with it. Okay, so all of that's fine. We have spreads, etc. You could do it as all pages. So we get them in a line and we don't have the first page bigger than the others. So let's do that. Take that out, put it on the desktop, which is where it says it is, and there it's not. Okay, links, and we're done. So it's having a think about that very, very quickly. There's the PDF. I'm just going to open that up in my default PDF editor. And there's all of my hyperlinks. Do you know the one I'm going to go for? I need to see hashtag. There's hashtag. Way! Go back to page 1. There's page 1. Go to the end of the text. Perfect. Go back to page 1. All working. Read all about it on page 7. Page 7, not very exciting, but it is page 7. We can see that over here. Let's get back to hashtag. Right, because from hashtag, where's hashtag gone? Come on. Oh, we're at the page, we're at the top of the page. There she is. And from there, we can get back to page 1, where we had the link to MacBites. So let's click that. MacBites opens up in the browser. There we go. And it's gone to MacBites. So that's all the different types of links you need to understand in there. All of them. So we had, not designer, no, publisher. We had the whole thing, however you want to work this, running off the text option for interactive. You either need to insert a hyperlink, which is an instruction of where to go. So where do you want to go? Put the hyperlink in. Or the destination, which is the anchor. So this is the instruction to go to the destination. The instruction's the hyperlink, the destination is the anchor. You also have permanent anchors. Permanent anchors are anchors that you do not need to specify. Page anchors or web links. You can also, of course, put email in there, and that just works exactly the same way. So if I had in here, didn't actually show you this one, but email me, and you wanted that to be a link, you go into text, down to interactive, you want to insert a hyperlink on that. The type of hyperlink is an email. You put the email address in, and you click OK. And that would send an email to me. So you know all about it now. Hopefully that will be helpful to you. Right, I'm going to go back quickly into here because I'm pretty sure we're coming up to Mike now. We've got some freebies. We have some lovely freebies this week from Creative Market, one of our favourites. They have fonts this week, but they also have PowerPoint. Love PowerPoint files because you can open them in Keynote and play. There's a couple of logos there, but the one that I thought was interesting, because I know a lot of you use creative stuff, and there are the Pencil for Procreate tools there. There's been some webinars while we've all been on lockdown about Procreate. So if you're looking for add-ons for them, there's a freebie one for you. And you can get all of those at Creative Market. Now, there is also a freebie coming up for people who are thinking of running a YouTube channel, like mine. There is a 24-hour quarantine stream. I'm loving that. So TubeBuddy are a company who provide ways for you to optimize your YouTube channel. So it will tell you what tags you should use, what hashtags. Oh, we're back to hashtag. Birthday hashtag. Ways to SEO, basically. And they're running a live stream for 24 hours. It's already up there on YouTube. That's the link. The date is the 8th of April, and it's at 5 to 5 British summer time. I think the 5 minutes is to get everybody in. So I think Mike's got the link for that to put in there.
Put it in.
Then we've got a photography book, completely free at the moment. The only link I've got, I must admit, is the UK one. But if you put in James Driver Photography, hopefully the book is still free in the store in your country. I'll give Mike a second to get into that, because then he's going with line charts. So I spotted these this week and I thought it would be a good idea. So if you're not thrilled by it, blame me, not Mike. But I'm going to go onto my screen because I need to, that thing I moved totally out of the way. This thing here. Yeah, taking it back the other way because it needs to be where I need it to be so Mike can share his screen. So without further ado, are you zoomed in?
Zoomed in.
Oh, Mike, you are a naughty boy.
Why?
Naughty, naughty boy. What have I told you about making sure your screen's the right size before we start?
It is the right size.
Yeah, but was it when I started?
Yes.
Well, it's not now. So have you been zooming in and out?
No, I haven't changed it.
We've got a problem with it. Okay, what I'll do is I'll try and make a new one. because they're only seeing half your screen. Hang on, now they're seeing all your screen. I think I found a magic way to fix it. Who knew? Anyway, as I was saying, over to Mike.
Set like this from 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I think there was a slight snafu. That was me.
On your spot side.
I shared a different screen and it all went.
Right.
But
See,
it's all right. I fixed it now. Yep.
Right.
Mike, it's your role in life. We've got to have some humour because we've got to keep Johnny awake.
Right.
Although I'm trying to send him to sleep. Rockabye Johnny.
Rockabye Johnny on the treetop.
Do you get the feeling the pair of us are getting possibly overtired and emotional? Neither of us have even had a drink yet.
Line charts will send him to sleep.
Oh, that's a good point. I'll check if he's awake at the end of line charts. There you go. Can't say fairer
I've
than
got
that.
the TV on in the corner to check that thing's recording.
That's fine.
And it's Freddie.
Excellent.
That's much more interesting.
Get on with it, Mike.
Right. Okay. Line charts. It's probably about the only type of chart that I haven't done. So, and I'm sticking with coronavirus, which has become a topic. I was going to say popular topic. It's become a topic.
Interesting's the word you're looking for.
Topic.
Interesting.
For data. So this first demo is real data. I found this morning, and it's basically the number of cases, not per day, but the cumulative cases between the 1st of January and it's beach balling as well. 1st of January and today. Why is Excel beach balling on me? I don't know.
It's just eking out the demo so Johnny stands less chance of being awake at the end of it. Okay. Is it working or not?
It's working. Good. Yeah. I'm using Excel for Mac here rather than Excel for Windows, but it works exactly the same way. So what I need to do is to select the cells, the range of cells that contain the data, and then click on Insert. And I have my usual range of different chart types here. So for this demo, I'm going to click on the icon that represents the line charts, and I get various different types of line charts. So I've got plain two-dimensional line charts with markers, line charts without markers, stacked line charts, which basically give you 100% rather than a standard measurement. The 3D line charts you can see there, if I hover my mouse over them and click, what that should do is that should show me what the chart looks like. On the Windows version, you only have to hover over the icon. On the Mac version, you actually have to click. So if I go back to Insert and click on the icon for line charts, if I hover over these different icons on the Windows version, it will show me a preview in the spreadsheet as to what the chart looks like. On the Mac version, you actually have to click. So I won't click on any of these, but you can see we've got area charts as well. Area charts are like line charts, but the area underneath is filled in. And they've become quite popular over the years. I've seen quite a lot of those charts in the last week or so. But to keep it simple, I'll go for a two-dimensional line chart. And I would say that's all there is to it, but I'm going to tidy it up a little bit. So I will move the chart, move it up to the top, I think. And come on, get to the top. For some reason it's gone really, really slow. Should have stuck to the Windows version. But I just thought I would show this to you on the Mac, because I haven't done much with charts on the Mac over the past few weeks. Maybe the machine needs a reboot. Anyway, let's make it bigger. There we go. So I can do things like change the chart title. So click into the title placeholder, and I'll put cumulative cases of COVID-19 year to date. Come on, get rid of these. What are you sniggering at?
I don't know what you said, but Siri's woken up over here.
Oh, right. Fair enough. If I want to change the line itself, I'll just click on the line. That selects it, and I can go up to Format and use the outline. Because lines don't have a fill, there's no point using shape fill. But what I'll do here is I'll change the colour. So instead of blue, which is the default, I'll change it to a green. And I can also make it thicker. So let's go for a 4.5 point line like that. Other things I can do, I can select one of these grid lines here. They all get selected, and just pressing the delete key will get rid of them. I can change the background colour of the chart. I've shown you this in previous weeks. It's the same for any chart. Select the chart itself by clicking on the edge, go up to Format, and from the Shape Fill, pick a colour. Let's go back to, there we go, Shape Fill. Come on. What's happened here?
Have you killed it?
No, I haven't killed it. It keeps beach balling. I'm running out of disk space, you know.
Well, did you not clear your disk space
No,
before
I
you
didn't.
started?
No. It was those, there we go. It was that 75 gig recording from last week. Other things I could do, let's say I don't want to show all of the dates along the bottom. For a start, it's not actually showing all the dates because there's not enough room. It's defaulted to showing every second day. But if I click on to that scale along the bottom to select it, and then right click and go to Format Axis, it brings up a panel on the right, and I could change it here. So I could say, show me every 4 days, for example. And that will show me every 4 days eventually. There we go. You might actually decide to get rid of that scale. You might not want to see the individual dates. So I can just click on that scale and press the delete key, or click on that axis rather than scale and press the delete key. You might say something in the title that says 1st of January through to the year to date. But that's an example of a line chart. You're just taking numeric values and you're plotting them on a scale. I tend to like line charts when it comes to anything to do with timescales. So whether it's cases of coronavirus, or whether it's sales per quarter or sales per month, it's just one of those things that sits well with a line chart. So that's one example. The next example, I've had to make the numbers up here because I frantically tried to find the real data, but I couldn't. It's probably out there somewhere. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create the curve, as it's become known over the past few weeks. So I will select all this data here. In fact, I'll start with just the data in columns A and B. Select all the way up to row 27. Go to Insert, then select a standard two-dimensional chart, just like I had before, and there is our curve. Now, we've all heard about flattening the curve, which I'll talk about in a minute. So we might decide that we don't particularly want to see that scale along the bottom, or we might want to keep it. It's just picked it up from the text in column A. But if I want to get rid of it, I'll select it and press the delete key. What I'll also do is get rid of these grid lines. And I might also want to get rid of the numbers because I'm just trying to make this a representative rather than showing specific values. Sometimes people focus too much on specific values. So there's the curve. Now, when I was looking at the curve, looking at to try and find an example to use, one of the charts that I looked at on a particular web page had a curve like that and had a line going across showing health service capacity. So if we wanted to draw that in, I'll just go to the Insert tab, and on the Shapes menu, just create a line where I think that would go. If you hold the Shift key down as you draw that line, it gives you a perfectly straight line. There we go. If I want to change the colour, I can go to Shape Format, which I had a minute ago. There we go. And choose an outline. Let's make that that colour. And if I wanted to put some text in that said health service capacity, then I will add that in as a text box. There we go. Now, Boris, and probably every other world leader, has been going about squashing the curve. So let's say that we could squash the curve by getting people to stay at home and reducing the number of cases. These are the figures, again, I've made them up, but these are the figures that would be used if we could squash the curve, if people stayed at home and we had fewer cases. Obviously there's a rise in cases, but the rise is not as steep as in the data from column B. We could say column B is the worst case scenario, column C is the, I won't say best case scenario, but better case scenario. If I copy the selected data and click on the chart and then paste, what it does is it adds that second set of numbers as another line. So what we've got there is we've got two lines. One is showing worst case scenario, the other is showing what happens if people heeded advice and stayed at home. Yes, we're still over capacity where the health service is concerned, but it's not as stretched as it may well have been. Flattening, that's the word, Neil, flattening. What word did I use?
No idea.
I can't remember either. Flattening, yeah. Shows how much notice I've taken of Boris, doesn't it? But yeah, that is a couple of examples of line charts. I decided to steer away from the typical examples of sales figures and things like that, and using something, as I've done for the last few weeks, that is a lot more relevant and appropriate.
People are interested in the data.
I'm not very optimistic with my made-up data, no. Realistic rather than optimistic, Simon. So that's it. Another chart, another week. Shall I pass back to you?
You can do.
Okay.
She's sleeping like a baby down there.
Who is?
Lola.
Lola, go on.
Who do you think I mean?
Boris.
Have you got she?
Oh, she.
Poor Mike.
Right.
I better not turn my screen back on without moving that. The swines at Morrison's, Mike. I knew this had happened. I'm sitting here waiting for the, Mike reckons 11:30, but I reckon midnight slot grab on Morrison's. They've taken the toilet rolls out.
They've taken the toilet rolls?
They've taken the toilet rolls out.
Swine.
Exactly, swines. I agree with Kim. I like talking about ice cream as well, Kim. Right.
I'll go back to ice cream.
Let's get go. Now, how would we flatten the curve with ice cream? Overproduction, and we have to eat it.
We wouldn't flatten the curve with ice cream.
Wouldn't we?
No.
We wouldn't flatten anything else either.
Thanks.
Washboard stomach, not quite.
You're welcome.
Right, let's head off back into here. Keynote tips and tricks. This again came from ideas that were mentioned during Marooned at MacBites headquarters. Jonathan's still with us. I've tried my best, Mike. I sent a load of emojis that were all sleepy emojis, but no, he's beating it. Right, you need to tell me if there's anything specific that you would like to see. There's one that I use every week called Magic Move. Neil's determined with Access Mike. You're not going to get away with it. I'm also going to look at themes and styles. So now have a look at that. Mike said presenter view, but let me know. Let me know. Jonathan's wide awake. Ruining this game, ruining it. I'll stay up till 3 o'clock, I'll make sure. When to go? What on earth I meant with that, I have no idea. Mike suggested image editing, but it's pretty poor. And then there's typography.
Have you noticed something here?
What have I noticed?
Everything that I suggested.
Well, no, he's come to mention it. But anyway, first off, we're going to look at Keynote tips and tricks. So let's go off and have a look at those. That's all very well of me, isn't it? I'm actually in Keynote right now, obviously, so I'll have to come out of that. Right, I'll use tonight's presentation. Why not? Because one of the things I talked about, let's get it on. There we go. Right, there's my list. And there's stuff in there that I have no idea what I meant. So this is what my Keynote looks like. Obviously, I normally have it on a much bigger screen. I'm at 1600 by 900, so it's tiny. But when we were on Maroon the other night, we were talking about interface and what we do with the interface. And I said I do take the space to have the object list showing. And I remember mentioning the object list to Mike. And do you know what he said? What's the object list? I was horrified. The object list is this list that you see here. So it's the blue area. It is that whole bit there. And it's not on by default. There is a button for it there, which takes it away. There we go. Now the other place, I put the button on there, just on the odd occasion I want to take it away, because its real home is up here. Here's its real home. No, window, where have you gone? View, that's where I'm looking for, view. And there is hide object list. So there are shortcut keys for all of these as well. I tend to have these elsewhere, I'll be honest with you. So I don't tend to use the shortcuts for them. And I don't want to, as you've just seen, go to the window menu and think, where's it gone? To come back to the view menu, which is very busy, to find it. So I put the button on the toolbar for that one, but that's the object list. Obviously, makes more sense on a slide that's got lots more objects rather than just the one. So let's have a look back. What have we got? Has that got a lot on? No, it's got 3. So there's 3 objects on there. There's the image in the background, and then there's 2 shapes. And they are in here. So what we were actually discussing was, what do you do when you need to have multiple languages? That was one of the things we mentioned. So let's say I want to have that there, and says give it a like. Give it a like. But then I also want to have that in French and Spanish. And I know, Tracy, this is the extent of my French. I'd just say, yeah, that needs to be in French. And this one needs to be in Spanish, and somebody else can do all the donkey work with that. There we go. So I want them at the same point, so let's make them bigger. That won't do at all, will it? They're far too small. So in the text, let's make that at least 64 points. Right. And I want to have that at the top. So I want to have that there. But I'd also like to have a Spanish version. So let's put that in exactly the right place. And a French version. Let's put that in exactly the same place. And this is your problem. Now, obviously, I've got the same text on the left-hand side. And then I've got Spanish and French there, and I've got one behind it that doesn't have anything there. And that's the problem. Now it's a nightmare to select them. To the point, what I've done in years gone by is think I've no idea which one I've got. I'll cut it. Oh, that's the Spanish one. And then I'll paste it back. Now, there is no way at the moment to deal with this. What we need is layers, and we don't have layers, so we have a problem. You can keep all of this on the same slide, as long as you know what you're doing. And then when you're delivering it, you'd have to whip through and bring one to the front. So the trick with that is, the only way you can work around that right now is to either maintain 3 different sets of slides, which is not great if you suddenly decide that this thing here doesn't need to be grey. that it needs to be a totally different colour, and this needs to be a different colour. Then you have to maintain 3 sets of slides. Your other alternative is having one set of slides like this and manipulating the text on it. But the point is, how do I know what goes where and how do I move it easily? Because most times it looks like that, doesn't it? Now, I don't know if you know, but you're about to find out, that if you have an object, I don't know at the minute, looking at that, whether that's at the top of the stacking order or the bottom of the stacking order. But when I click on that and realise that that's an object too, I know for a fact that's not at the bottom of the stacking order. But this is no way to work, is it? What I would do with that, if I didn't want people to see it, is I have a magic shortcut key. There's a send to back option. So when you look at your formatting up here, arrange. Yeah, I'm not good with menus. All shortcut keys. You can bring forward, bring to the front, send to the back, or send back. So send backward or send to back. You have to add an extra key in. All right. So learn those. They are your friend. So for a start, that one there. If I want to send that to the back, it's Shift Command B. And now it goes to the back. Now you're wondering why you can still see it. That's because this one here has some transparency on it. We go to the image that is. There should be some transparency on it. In the style, down there, it's only 15%. So if we take that up, then you don't see it. But that one is actually at the back now. Now, how do I get that back to the front? I can't select it, can I? You can see the white selection handles. Can't select it. This is where you need to select what should be the background and send that to the back. This is horrible. And it gets even worse with text like this that's stacked on top of itself. And that's why the object list is your friend. In the object list, you can actually see stuff. So there's the background, the arrow, and the icon, and there's the text. So if I actually wanted the French at the front, readable, I can use this to drag the other text to the back. Now, the problem I've got with this at the moment is, which is just another issue, yeah, that doesn't look like it's worked, but actually it has worked because the image is there. But we've just ascertained that that image needs to be at 15% opacity. What to do? It would solve the problem if we took that up. There's the give it a like in French. And you can't see the Spanish nor the English. But I can't have that like that because then there's no point because I can't see this. This needs to be 15%, which gives me a problem. Now, is there a fix for that? Let's see if Jonathan's still awake. Is there a fix for that? I need that at 15%, but I need to send the text to the back and have it hidden. Is there a fix? I wouldn't be asking the question if there wasn't a fix, would I? There's a fix. But what is that fix? Let me know in the chat. It's not a difficult fix. It's just one of my many hacks. You know what I'm like for hacking. It was one of my many hacks. You could fix it before you get this far. One thing you could do with this is you could alter the transparency of the actual image and then do something with it. Oh, Jonathan's not sure. Well, prepare to be amazed, Jonathan. I could have edited it in an image editor. And if I'd done that, then I could have fixed it in there. But I'm not in there, am I? I'm in here. So up here, we have shapes. We have whole swathes of collections of shapes. I'm just going to put a shape on it. There you go, just a standard shape. Now, I do it this way because it's fastest and I fly around here. When we finished Marooned at MacBites headquarters today, I didn't have a presentation and there are now 93 slides. So I work quickly. So in here, at the minute, it's 100 width, 1280, 720, 0, 0. Command-Shift-B, now it's at the back. Okay, not very good having it at the back, but never mind, we're getting somewhere. I'm just going to bring it to the front. What if that was white? There's an idea. And now it's white. And what if, instead of sending it to the back, which would look like this, still not great, let's bring it back to the front. What if, look at the object list, we moved it back one element at a time? And we stopped there. That would give us everything we need. We've got a solid 100% white block behind the image that's only 15%, and the 3 items we want visible are above it. Then, if we want to change French to Spanish, we do this. We select the French, which is at the top, and we send that with a shortcut key, Command-Shift-B, to the back. We find the Spanish, and we Control-Shift-F to send that to the front. You can, of course, take that and drag it down and take the English one up and do that. So you can do it with the object list. If you've got 500 items on a slide, I'd question your sanity. But, hey, if you've got them, you can search through here as well. So if you're thinking, I can't read, the French and the Spanish, where's the Spanish one? You can do that and it will show you that's the Spanish one. Obviously, at that point, you've got it selected, but now everything's disappeared. So you can't actually move it around. But if you take that out, you've still got it selected and you can bring it to the top, grab the other one, take it to the back. But I do a lot of that with keyboard shortcuts. So Kim says, well, I did 93 slides. She barely got the dishes done and the dog fed. Hey, if I'd have had to feed the dog and do the dishes, I wouldn't have been doing the slides. No, not a problem. It all counts and feeding the dog's most important. Mike had to do that while I threw some slides together. So that's why I love the object list. I don't often have that many objects on it that I need to use the search. Very, very, very seldom. But it's nice it's there because it enables me to hide stuff behind other stuff. Now, there's another case to hide something behind everything that's on the slide. What would that be? When on earth would you bother to take text and put it on the slide and hide it so nobody can see it? It's literally out of sight. So where we've got give it a like in English here, that's all the text on my slide. It might describe it or something like that. Why would I bother putting text on a slide and hiding it? I'm having a look here, see if there's anything relevant. Say this one. What if I wanted to put some text on that explained what we were covering today? Now, obviously, that's on that slide, but I want it on this slide. Why would I do that? Why would I put it on the slide and then hide it? Let me know. Let me know why I would do that. I go back to this slide and show you actually doing it, which is basically all the text. But it's not, it's the same technique. So let's say I actually put some text on. So this is my text. Text that is very important. Can I type? No. Oh, it can. That's great. Yeah, don't miss the P out of that. No, I'm thinking impotent. No, important. Very important. It's getting late. What can I say? The text that is very important to this slide with one eye in certain circumstances. Right, but that I don't want to see. So there's my text. It's on my slide. And I obviously Command-Shift and B. Now it's at the back. And I can see here what I would tend to do with that is actually, start it with something like a code letter or something like that. But there it is. There's my text. Why bother? Well, when you export these slides as PDF, the description in the PDF of the slide is the text that's on it. So this one would say this week at MacBites headquarters. And this one would say Saturday. This one, not much at all. So there's an example. If I wanted that to be described, I would put some text on it. This was the end of year party. End of year party. I might put the date on that. That was 28th of March, 2020. It was fabulous. And then take that text. I'll make it so we can actually see it, but I'll take that text and I'll put it at the back so you can't see it. Waste of time then. But when I export these slides as PDF, that will be the description of this slide. Even though when I'm presenting it to you and I'm presenting it with me there, I don't need that. So if you think of something like LinkedIn SlideShare, most of my slides would make very little sense on SlideShare because there wouldn't be a description. But now there is a description, and that description will get sent out because it's an object in the stacking order up here. But on a visual presentation, you don't actually see it. Deborah's saying that might be useful if I had some automations or transitions on the slide and didn't want to forget what I'd done. That leads us nicely onto the next bit, I reckon. Tell you what, I will do that on the next bit. Oh, it's going on a post-it note, so it'll definitely get done. Right, no, I need to talk about one more thing with this. The other way to do that, depending on how you're outputting it, is this is an image. It was just captured as an image. So as soon as I click it, you see we get the image. It's just a graphic. Took the shot today, 6:30. Right. You'll also notice here, and very easily to forgive you if you had no idea this was here, there's a description box. And that description box is for accessibility. So if we hover over the description box for long enough, it says type a description that VoiceOver will read aloud. Did you know that if you are muted in Zoom, you can press the space bar? Oh, I did, yeah. We didn't talk about that. Doesn't it work the other way as well? That'd be cool. Be cool if it worked the other way. But yeah, good tip, good tip. It becomes like radio, CQ, Deb. Absolutely. Right, in the description. The description is worth bothering with for accessibility purposes. So every item on here, right, so we do that, every image on here, so if we go through there, that's text. So you can see what it is, and it's readable by a screen reader. But this, not readable by a screen reader, even though, you know, you could OCR it, and my text at the background will be used, but not actually in there for that graphic. That you need to go into the image and put in a description for the image. For something like I do, which is throw up usually about 120 slides together for a presentation, I don't bother. But if I'm doing a presentation where I'm going to put that somewhere, like LinkedIn SlideShare, or I'm handing it off to somebody and accessibility is important, I will actually take the time and put those in there. So, important. Right, now, a comment there was made about what if you'd done something and you didn't want to forget. You've got two options for that. You could put it in the presenter's notes down here. You will see those when you are presenting. If you only have a single screen, you can see them on your phone or your iPad. I'm not a great fan of putting stuff in there, I'll be honest. Mike and I studiously, about 18 months ago, did a presentation. Our difficulty was getting it down to 23 minutes, so we were ruthless with what went in. And because there was a limit of 23 minutes on it, we put speaker's notes in. And it was fine the first time, wasn't it, Mike? Absolutely fine. It was in front of us. If somebody needed to come in, it was in 2 different colours. It was perfect. The second time we delivered it was about 2 months later. And there was a technical snafu at the venue, and neither of us could see the speaker's notes. So it was very much like, we'll vamp this. We'll do this from memory because we couldn't see them. So I personally wouldn't particularly rely on it. Now, you might be wondering, if I've just said you could see it on a phone or an iPad, why didn't we do that? The problem was we ended up using our projector when we'd gone to a venue and should have been using theirs, which meant we had to move all the kit. So basically, we wanted to get to a point where we were actually looking at the audience and not looking at our phones, looking for the next bit. And I just said to Mike, we know this. We've done this enough times. We had rehearsed again. So I said, just go with it. If you forget anything, I'll butt in. If I forget anything, you butt in. And it worked brilliantly. But presenters' notes, don't rely on them. Don't rely on them. It would be far better to say, yes, put the speaker's notes in there, the presenter's notes, if you could export them. But it's not very good at export, isn't Keynote? So Deborah's saying, I often use the presenter notes for content, other information would be confusing. Exactly. There are better ways to do that. What I tend to do with something like this is something that I'll show you when we do the build with me shortly. But what I tend to do with it is you can always, and I do it this way, I make sure nothing's selected. So if I were to select this, it would go blue. Make sure nothing is selected and put a comment in. And I fill the comments with stuff. and leave them there. But look what happens if I present it. If I present it, that note's not shown. So it's there for me, but you don't see it when I present. So I do tend to delete them. It's instructions for me as I go. But if I wanted to put that there, I absolutely could. I could even move that off screen and have it just at the top corner if I was nervous in any kind of way. Now, you might say, well, why would you ever be nervous? Well, sometimes you log into somebody's web conference and they can't see something and whatever, and you end up presenting in this view. You go into slide only and you end up presenting. You turn off all of these, you turn off your presenter's notes, which is, no, not that one. I've got a shortcut. Is it that one? There you go. And you turn off that, you turn off everything and you present like that. And the problem with that is, if you've got a note in the middle of that, you would see it because you are not in presentation mode. So if I take that down a bit, see, there's my note. So if I try and get that back on, there we go. If I've put that there with to myself, note to self, and I end up presenting in this kind of way, not great. So I tend to delete them, but you don't, in normal circumstances, if you're presenting this, then you don't see those. So let's get this back where we were with everything on it. That's how I normally work with that on. Right, so that's one thing you could do. You could put the comments on. Right, magic move. We've got a magic move. We have a very simple magic move, which was, where was our magic move? It was in the freebies. There we go, there's the freebies. Right, so every week I do this. Whenever we have a Creative Market one, I do this. First thing I do is take a screenshot. So I'm going to do this in the next section, which is how I'm making next week's show. But the magic move needs to have, in fact, let's do it now. Let's do it now. I'm going to take, well, I'll show you what the magic move looks like. It's very straightforward. All it does is look like we're scrolling. I could go out and I could do that live, and that's, there you go, Procreate, handy for when you're under house arrest. There's my notes as well. You could do this by going out and doing it in the browser, but it doesn't look very neat. So I'm going to take off the magic move. There we go. Let's, none. So there's no magic move, and I'm going to delete that second one. So what I do is I go into there and I change the graphic. So this graphic. Now you'll notice I also did some, it's a group. And your groups show up in your object list as well. So the object list is your friend. Jonathan's used this. He's also letting me know he's still awake. He's going to beat me this week. I feel it. He's going to beat me.
What's the forfeit?
I haven't decided yet.
Isn't it up to Jonathan to decide?
Oh no. Oh no. Right. Normally, I just have the graphic. So let's grab the graphic out. Get that at the top. Let's delete the group and see why I had that there in the first place. So this is just a screenshot, dragged and dropped in from Snagit. And the issue is all of this garbage that we see up here that I don't want you to see. So I do the simple thing, which is put one of these in, and I just cover it up like that. So you can see everything else, but that's covered like that. Obviously not going to work in that colour, so I make it white. Great. But what will happen if I now create a magic move? What will happen? I'll duplicate the slide because a magic move needs two slides. It needs the starting slide and the ending slide. And all you need to do, the magic move, is go to the first slide and put an effect on it of magic move. Simple. You go to the second slide and you move the stuff. So I would grab my image, wouldn't I? And what do I want? I want it to scroll up. Oh dear. White box that was covering the other thing. Not a problem, you might think. Let's get rid of it. We don't need it. Now let's have a look at the magic move. So there's my slide. And you may have noticed in that top corner, if you didn't, let's go back. Let's go back and do it again. Watch the top right corner. What's happening there? Well, it does disappear. We don't end up with the white box. Absolutely. But it faded out. Now, that's because this is set fade unmatched objects. Choose whether unmatched objects animate during the transition. So do you want it to fade or not? Let's say not and see what happens. Let's go into it again. They just disappear. That's worse. Oh dear. It's disappearing too quickly, basically. But do you know what? None of that needed to have happened. None of it. Let's just get rid of it. Let's just get rid of it. So delete that slide. Go back to this first slide. It was really simple. That and that belong together. Command Option G groups them. The reason I deleted the second slide was this slide I really need them grouped on the second slide. So duplicate the slide. Will that solve the problem? Well, let's have a look. Let's go to that one and play it. And what we want to see when I tap the button is that this moves downwards, but you don't see that fade out at the top. That's what we need. Now, what's going on now? Yes, not good. First thing was in here, I didn't move it. So let's move that to where it should be. That should solve the problem. No? Let's go back and do it again. So we go from this slide and we go to the next one. Absolutely perfect, apart from one thing. When I go to the next slide, which is the Creative Market slide, it fades in. What's happening? I didn't have that. I never put transitions on my slides. What's happened is when I duplicated the first slide, look at the blue thing here. Let me draw around that. There's a blue thing there, under there. That indicates your transition. Didn't need a transition on the second one. Only want the transition on the first one. If you have a transition on the second one, and it's a magic move, what you're saying is, I'm moving this into that slide. And frankly, you're not. You're not. So take away that by saying none. And that's how you do it. Now, a magic move could be anything. You could put a path on it or anything else. Talking about fading, Alex is going. Good night, Alex. Hope you enjoyed it. Right, so that's sorted with that magic move. Very, very simple. But let's go back and have just to amuse ourselves. Before we create the second slide, make sure the first slide is perfect. By which I mean these groups, you can toggle them open and see what's in them, which is fabulous. But you can rename them. So you could say that's my Creative Market thing here. So these groups are really your friends. You can rename them. Now, what's that? Well, it's a rectangle. But I could say it's a mask covering that. And this, well, I probably won't have it that date. I'd probably do that. Creative Market for that date. So not only can you bring stuff in and manage it with this list, but you can rename stuff from this list as well. Trust me, the object list is your friend. Oh, it is. It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, one thing I was really interested in doing, and I have tried all over the place. Tell you what, let's look at the image editing first, which Mike mentioned, which is pretty poor, sadly. Right, you can, in the image editor, bring up this dialog box, which is Adjust Image. It's not great. Not by a long way is it great. You can alter it, so we can, not the best image to try doing it with actually, is it? Let's try a different one. Let's try that. Oh, I know. Let's go up here. Proper image. Let's go to Friday where it's hashtag's birthday. Right, so in here you can bring this up. You can actually click enhance and it will enhance it. All that did was lighten it up, give it a bit more colour. But you can actually control all of this either in here, which is way too dark. You can lighten it up like that. You can change the midpoint. So more detail, less detail. You can change the exposure, the contrast, etc. But by comparison to what PowerPoint does, it's pretty poor. It is, honestly, it's pretty poor. I look at PowerPoint and I think, wow. So that's the Adjust Image option that you've got. One slide that I looked at, which I think was before these, I don't know if you do this, but in here you see that this image at the bottom, there's white handles on it. And that's where you would scale it. So it's an image. Where's the white handle at the top? Oh, it's way up here. So the image is too big for the slide. Doesn't matter because it's hanging off the top. But you can crop. So you could actually bring that down, and then it just makes it neater when it comes to manipulating it, that it's not hanging off the slide, potentially interfering with other items. So you've got that you can do. But the one that really, really, really interested me was obviously, so I'm moving on now, and I've got a few other things that I can talk about in relation to creating slides and stuff. But time is marching on. Nearly time to try and grab that slot as well.
I was just going to say that.
Oh, I'm after this slot, trust me. They've taken the toilet rolls off me. But Mike, never fear, I've added 2 Morrison ones in. It's a packet of 2 toilet rolls. This is what life has come to, discussing toilet rolls in the middle of my demo, because I'm determined to try and get a slot. I've got £183.92 worth of stuff in there, and I guarantee you when I say proceed to checkout, it'll say, we've taken the toilet rolls away, because we can. Yes, it's come to that. Right, so Deborah says, PowerPoint's also more powerful in the object department called selection pane. Exactly, PowerPoint is very, very good. The problem I have with it is, I've used Keynote for so long, and everything is in these 3 panels over here. So you've got your format, you've got the transitions, and you've got the document and audio and video when relevant. And, you know, it's just there. And PowerPoint hides features from me, and I wish it wouldn't, but it always seems to hide features from me. I can see the day when I'm dragged back into PowerPoint. Still no delivery slots, Mike, but I'm trying. I'm going to be there at midnight. So I'll interrupt myself in a couple of minutes while I try and sort that out. But I agree with you. PowerPoint in many ways is way more powerful than Keynote. Keynote just makes my life easier, apart from what I'm about to show you, which doesn't. I've had this upside down. Mike has had it upside down. Doesn't work in the right way as far as I'm concerned. One example, Deborah, I'm sure you've used it, is when you're in PowerPoint, you can have sections. True sections of your presentation. What I can have here, and you've seen, is this one, where I've got my days. There are my days. So I've got the week at MacBites headquarters that's all self-contained. I open it up, and then I've got the individual days. So I tend to fold them up when I finish. So it's all neat and tidy. And then I would then open and work on a single day. But they are only just indented. There's nothing spectacular about them in any other way. There's nothing else with that. Whereas in PowerPoint, you can create sections. That's my alarm to tell me I've got 1 minute to get this order in. So I'm literally, I'm now on my 1 minute countdown to try and grab a slot at Morrison's. Can we all have cheering and waving if it actually happens? I'd be very grateful. It is. It's like a marathon runner. I've got this to do. I've got to get this order in. So I don't rate that. I'd much rather have sections. Sections are amazing. They are very powerful. Like you said, Deborah, just labelling them. That alone is amazing. But it's just that I've been in Keynote, and when I try and work in PowerPoint, I'm slower. I'm a lot slower. I wish I wasn't, but I am. If it keeps going like this, that Microsoft keep adding features and Apple don't give us stuff, then I can literally see that I would switch to it. But at the moment, you know, everything's in there. Right, we've got a 5-second countdown. You ready, Mike? 3, 2, 1. It's now midnight, and I'm going to attempt to proceed to checkout. It's having a rare old think, which means everybody else is proceeding to checkout, and I've got a slot. 2 to 4 p.m. tomorrow. That'll do nicely. They're coming twice, Mike. Don't care. Grabbing it. I'm having it.
Meanwhile, I'm in a queue at Tesco.
Continue. It's thinking about it. Oh, I should just be sharing this with you, shouldn't I? Here you go. Share it with you. Please, let me have it. No. Just let me do it. Oh, it did this before. Oh, damn toilet rolls. 2 to 4. I don't care. I don't care when it is. Just do it. That'll do. Whenever, I don't care. So it's gone from Saturday to Sunday. That'll do. Yay! I'm checking out. I might not have toilet rolls. I have no idea what I've just bought. I have no idea. But it's coming. Please let me check out. Don't. No, come on. Yes! It's sad that it's come to this, but I am so excited.
This is a shopping with Elaine moment.
You never thought you would see the day, did you? This is what you have to do. Midnight, everything and more has to be in the basket, and then yay! So, Jonathan, you're on this map, babe, aren't you? Let me zoom in. Jonathan's over here somewhere. Jonathan's in this area, over there. And we're down here. We're down here. Let me zoom out. Thank you. Fancy getting congratulations because you bought some toilet rolls. This will go down in after hours history. I've got a delivery. Right, okay. I'll check later what I've just bought. I think I might have some toilet rolls. I'm not sure. I can't guarantee it, but I might have had some toilet rolls. Let me look down the list. What have I got?
You're doing better than me.
I've got rice, Mike, and I've got cheese. I've got rice, I've got cheese, I've got your lemonade for your Southern Comfort. I've got 1 tin of peas. I did order 3, only got 1.
Did you get any dairy milk?
Hang on, I'll check. I've got gluten-free bread. Here you go, gluten-free bread. I might as well just share this with you. Here you go. Here's what I've got. Let's just get rid of my credit card. There we go. I've got chocolate for you, Mike. I've got Cadbury's Dairy Milk Caramel Chocolate. You interested?
Very.
Right, there you go, washing up liquid. Here you go, here's his other stuff. Ooh, dairy milk. We've got gluten-free stuff, more lemonade. I had to put 6 bottles of lemonade in because I needed 2, because they had to be different ones. Right, let me have a look at this one. Was there any gin? No, I didn't put any gin on. I didn't dare do that because then it would need signing for. They're not allowed to leave alcohol at the door. And of course, at the minute, that's causing problems, so I didn't dare do that. So there's all our gluten-free stuff. I'm looking for toilet rolls. Look, Chinese takeaway. I got the red onions. I've been without red onions for 3 weeks. I got the battered carrots. Oh, Mike, this is good. You see how much washing up liquid I had to put in to get some? I've got 4 lots of washing up liquid in different colours. I got the frozen peas just in case. I got the frozen onions. Look what I've got, Mike. £27 worth of toilet rolls. Isn't this the best show you've ever seen? Looking at my basket. Mike, I got £27 worth of toilet rolls.
Obviously, I'm a moderator for the chat.
Yes.
And there's a message that popped up.
What popped up?
This message is held for review.
And what's in it?
Jonathan's toilet roll emojis.
Oh, I'm glad you let that one through. There you go. There's my stuff. There's my salad. What else we got? More gluten-free bread. More rice. The reason that we've got this stuff, which we would not normally eat, this is not what we eat. All of it can be frozen. That's the sole reason. But I'm so happy because I got my toilet rolls. Look, more rice, more stuff, toilet rolls. Yeah, I had to put those in, but I only got 2. So Morrison's are selling them in 2s. But I got my toilet rolls. This is fabulous. Oh, I'm loving this. We should do this every week. It could come to that, guys. Yeah, Kim says she doesn't know what they'll get till it arrives.
Well, we don't.
We don't, to be honest. I've ordered that for as soon a delivery as I could get. Now, the problem was, what happened, I clicked to get to the checkout and it had a think about it. Then it offered me a slot. I clicked the slot, which was tomorrow. So, no, was it Saturday? Yeah, today. So a Saturday slot at 2:00. And then it said, we've changed your basket. That means you've lost the slot. So then you've got to go back and you've got to say, right, fine, whatever. Go back and check out again and then grab another slot. And by the time I came to grab the slot, all the Saturday slots had gone, which, to be honest, I would expect. So I'm not worried that it's coming on Sunday. That's not a problem at all. At least it's only a couple of days. But yeah, that's what they do to you. But then what will happen is in the 2 to 3 hours before they actually get here with your stuff, they've got your mobile number and they'll ping you and they'll say, this isn't available, this is the substitution. This isn't available, this is the substitution. So I'm halfway there with those toilet rolls. That I've secured them. But if they actually have no toilet rolls at the point that they are packing, then I'm without toilet roll. But at the moment, that's the nearest Mike and I have ever got in the middle of this mess, which has now been about a month, to actually get toilet rolls in the basket. So fingers crossed. Simon said we could make a bingo game out of this Bites bingo. I'll make a bingo card with all the stuff on. Jonathan, I'm very pleased for you. I know it's like, oh, we're having a baby. No, we're having a delivery. It's fabulous. Shall we get back to Keynote? Thank you for being with me during that. How are you doing? He can't get a slot. Bless him. This is why it takes 2 of you. Okay, so we were just talking about
I'm in a queue.
Mike's in it. Is this the 46,000 odd
I'm in a
queue?
queue at Tesco's and Asda.
Oh, bless
I'm
him.
going to give up.
I don't keep trying for 5 minutes. Go on. I'll keep talking about Keynote. So we're just saying PowerPoint, way more powerful, but I'm actually way quicker with Keynote. Now, one thing that I do is cheat somewhat in terms of if I was to create a presentation for next week, then I would be looking to leverage part of this week's, wouldn't I? Because down the bottom here, when we go past all this lot, look, we've got things for next week coming up and the slide for next week and the date's already on it and stuff like that. And I've got a section there that I shouldn't have, but never mind. I did mention it was all a bit of a rush today, didn't I? So what I tended to do at the beginning of After Hours was I duplicated this week's show and then I went about editing and deleting and stuff like that. But obviously it would make much more sense not to do that. It would make sense to have a proper template. Now, a good few years ago, Keynote 09 was fantastic, and I think it was a bit of a hacky workaround, but there was a way to create a proper template. What they now want you to do, and they call it a template, making a template, is do what we're doing here. So there you go, there it is. That's got all of the stuff in it, so you could make a template. Now, obviously, if you were making a template, you wouldn't want the dates on it and the numbers because your eyes would see it and think I've done that and then realise that was 3 weeks ago. So what I did was I have created a template. There's my template. Right, I've got one in my demo files and I've got one up here, but that's my template. It says template. Right, so I'm going to open my template. All right, so in here, this is what I've done. This is my template. So it has day, month, it has number, but it has a red dot on it. That has, but it has a red dot on it. So this file has absolutely nothing in it that isn't completely generic. So I'm going to move this other one out of the way before I start editing the wrong one. So this is my template and I've worked on it for ages and it's now just about right. Although, to be honest, we don't need that in it, do we? So let's get rid of that. There's possibly a few other things that I would change in there. But what I'm going to do is take you through how I do this now. But first of all, I'm going to show you why Keynote's a pain in the backside. Okay, so this is my file. It's got everything in it. You'll see that this one's got a disclosure on it. And there's lots of hidden slides. What's in there? Well, it's all my stuff. This is my key to my own thing. Red if it's not started, amber if it's work in progress, green if it's finished. Now, this was taken from the template that I use when I'm creating my courses. So this is telling me there's no assets required. This is telling me it's just a reference slide. This was when square one's a video. So if I need video, I put that in. Good night, Graham. See you soon. Graham's gone before Jonathan. Jonathan's still holding out. Then I put in the fonts that I use. So that's a key. And then in here, I have other stuff. When I'm using colours, I create all of those. So I fill these in. That's my placeholders. Then I need a slide that's got the red dot on in the right place because those red dots throughout the presentation all in the same place. Not thrown together, this isn't. So I have that just to click and copy it. And I have an amber one and a green one and all of them. Blue one, white one, squares. Now these are my shape styles. I have a range of shape styles that I use all the time. And again, I have that in there too. So this really is, what would you guys call this? Because I would call it a template. I have my index. I've got the slides we use at the beginning. We have the week at MacBites headquarters and we have the 2 weeks at MacBites headquarters when there's 2 weeks. If I open this up and show you, there's Saturday and there's the date. See you on catch up, Paul. So each of these has a date on it. This is a template. And I want to make a template of it, obviously. So I went and I said file. And my options are save theme. I thought, okay. I read up on it. It said theme, template, template, theme. Okay, I thought, save as a theme. Create a custom Keynote theme. you can add this presentation. Notice that this presentation, what's a presentation? A selection of slides, thank you, to the theme chooser or save it to the computer. We'll do it as a demo and add it to the theme chooser. So it goes into it. This is the new theme chooser, all new. And at the bottom, it says My Themes. Right, I'm going to say this is an after hours demo. After hours demo. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, where's my lovely slide gone? Because if my slides are in there, why isn't that my lovely slide? Okay, we'll worry about that shortly. I'm going to come out of there. Let's just close that down. And we'll close this down as well. So we're in Keynote. I want to create next week's. So I go to New, and it shows me my theme chooser. These are all the lovely, lovely new themes. There we go. Let's go down to them. There they are. And there's my themes. There's my after hours demo and my default. My default's been there since time immemorial. It's just a blank template. That's it. But all of these, you know, if I were to choose some of these, so let's try modern type. Let's double click that. Yep, there's the file and there's a slide in it. Okay. Right, so I want one of mine. So new, right down to the bottom, and I want to start creating next week's show. Oh, we're ahead of ourselves. Wait for it to have a think about it. Opens it up on the wrong screen, and there's my presentation. Let's take that full screen. Just a minute. What do you mean, there's my presentation? There's not much in the way of a template to me. Now, what it means by theme is not content. This is not good. So I looked at it and thought, where's my intro slide? If you go into your Change Master, all of your master slides are there. So what it expects you to do is sit down and say, right, what's my first slide? Oh, yes, that's the one with the show number on it. And next week's will be 71. And the date will be? That will be, now this is also a problem. This will be, in fact, that's very strange that that's saying that. This will be the 10th of April, 2020. Now, it's not difficult, is it? It's just, really? I've got to do this? What was the next slide? No idea. So I'd constantly be referring back. So if we compare that one with this one, oh yes, the next slide would have been, so we add a slide. Let's add a slide. It automatically uses the previous template, which isn't the one that I want. So then I've got to go back over here and I've got to then choose one of these. Doesn't look like I actually have a template for that, but then why would I? It's only one slide. So this is garbage. This won't work. This is their idea of a template. It's not my idea of a template. My idea of a template, a theme, is exactly what you've got. A theme is a toolkit for building a presentation. But a template, a true template, would have content in it. So a theme isn't what we want. Clearly not what we want. So what I have to do, let's delete that, we don't want that, is to do it the old-fashioned way. So I could here go into my iCloud Drive, which is where it is. It's in my Keynote files. I do believe it's in templates somewhere in here. So I think it's at the bottom of there. Do we have that? Templates, there we go. Now, if we do the old Command and I, you'll see it's already enabled to be a stationery pad. Now you know what that means. Double click that and it automatically generates a copy of it with the content. So you're not overwriting the original in the templates, you're editing a new file. So that's what you have to do with it. Or edit the old one. Open the template, do a save as. So there's two ways to do it. One's the way I've done it, one's to do the save as. Then I need to go into there. And then I can put in that it's 71 and I put the date. And the date is next week, it's the 10th. And now I have the starting point for my show next week. So this, you can time me on this. That's not good. It's not Jonathan. It's shocking. This is what I'm saying. Everything feels like a dirty hack, a horrible workaround for something that should just work. But what I've got here, by duplicating the file, I actually put in here 1,000,000 times more than what I need. And then I go through it. So my first stop is to go here and put the show number. The second stop is to put the date. The third stop is to make sure it's British summertime and not GMT. Now, at that point, that's done. So that shouldn't be red then, should it? It should be green. This is where your styles come in and your themes. If I were to make a new file here and choose this showcase thing, whatever that is. All right. That's actually quite pretty, but never mind. Right, in here, if I have a shape, you'll see that's black. Now, when I insert it, it's blue. That's because of these styles over here. These styles over here are pre-configured, and you go across and you can create more. But they're not the ones I want. So if I were to make a new presentation with that, not good. So what I did was I created my own. The right ones. The blue, the green, the red, the amber, the white, an outline. So let me show you. If I add a square to it, let's make it bigger. It can be blue, it can be green, it can be red, amber, white, a red border. I also have a highlight to highlight something. I have pink, I have a black one, I have a 50 grey one, and I have a purple one. Those are the styles that I use. Now, your theme will contain those. So a theme will contain that. It's like the difference between a preset and a template in Affinity. So because of that, this is what enables me to fly around here. That's done. Don't need to think about it. Come on to that. Let's say what am I doing next week, guys? Am I doing more keynote tips? You let me know what I'm doing. But as soon as I type something in that, turn that to amber. These don't have a notification thing at all because they're finished. They don't need it. Then we've got the week at MacBites headquarters. Now, this is an interesting one to show you. Saturday. What's the date tomorrow? In fact, it's today now, isn't it? So I would put in 4th of April 2020. And then I go on to the Sunday, and I change that to the 5th. This is to remind me when I'm looking for what on earth did we do that day. And I think Saturday is going to have to be, the order might come. Oh, the excitement of the order. Where were we? 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So I literally go through this, and I usually do it when we finished a show. So I'm half ready for next week. But trust me, this is faster than anything else. There's Thursday the 9th, and it's show day on Friday. So I know that that's the 10th. So I fly around here doing that. They're all now done. But my next stop is to go back to the first day, which is Saturday. And with nothing selected, click on this. What's happening on Saturday? Well, I happen to know there is a Morrison's delivery coming. There's no toilet papers with it, but there is a Morrison's delivery. So I just put Morrison's delivery. We're also having a party. So Province 17 by request radio show. So this is just me at this point thinking what may have happened that's worth talking about. Sunday, well, we won't be going to mass, will we? Oh, Priest wants his videos doing. So I've got mass videos to produce. Mass video. And this is what I do. What do I know that I might be talking about? Again, that Morrison's delivery that you saw, Morrison's ordered live. There you go. It's due on Sunday. So I'll take photos should it ever arrive. And I literally go through the week like that. So what we do Monday, Mike? Don't tell me we've got any peace and quiet, surely.
No idea.
Oh, well, I'd put a note in anyway. What I would say on that is we'd have another episode of Marooned. And obviously, Marooned would happen the rest of the week. You can, in here, select that. Make sure that you've got a blue. Let me zoom in so you can see it. Blue around the edge. With it selected like that, you can copy it and go into Tuesday and paste it. So paste. Paste. So there is an episode of Marooned every day. One day, 125 will come out. We might all be alive when it does. I'm trying to get that right. Yes, it's all a bit tiny on this screen. So that's what I do. Right. Then, let's go here. Oh, I know. Oh, no, that's a week after. That's the week after. So on here, we have the week at MacBites headquarters, only it's the 2 weeks at MacBites headquarters. We use that when we've had a YTP, a YouTube premiere, and we're away. But we don't need it. Delete it. The next one's the freebies, because we always do freebies. You'll notice in there, I don't actually need that second slide. I have that one, but it tells me to update it. And that's been sat there since September, reminding me to update it. So they're already there. Other things are in place. Usually the black slides. So when we go out to a black slide, all of that is already there. Oh, Simon, that's amazing. Toilet roll calculator suggests with 2 of you with 2 bathroom visits a day and a stockpile of 58 toilet rolls, you now have 220 days worth.
It might come to that.
Might come to that. Hey, I don't think we're going to get 3 packs of toilet paper. I'd be happy with 1, but I do want.
We'll probably get none.
I reckon we'll get the 2 Morrison ones, and I reckon they'll cancel those on the day. What they'll do is let you order them, because there's a maximum of 3 of anything, and then they'll take them out the trolley. But that's good to know, Simon. I'm going to get Mike to save that from the chat. And 220 days from now, should they all arrive, we'll let you know. That's fabulous. Fabulous. Right, so I worked through those, and I've got the black slides in. Let's keep going, keep going. This is actually what I do. And the good thing is, this is next week, so I'm ahead of myself. So in here, I need to put in the week after, which is 72, which should be the 17th. Are you going to confirm that for me, Mike? So it is true 72 on the 17th of April, British summertime. We've got what's coming up. We've got what's on demand. We've got the other slides at the end. We've got all of the mail things. They are all there. There we go. We've got the Slack thing. We've got FM. Oh, we've got all of it. There you go.
Indeed.
It is indeed what? Excellent. Good. Yeah. So that's right. If you only get the Morrisons ones, you're good till next Saturday. There was only 2 in the packet. I mean, honestly, really? I'd have thought they'd have done a 6-pack. Although I do remember as a child, toilet rolls were bought in packs of 4, and they were wrapped up in paper, which is far more eco-friendly than all this plastic, isn't it? Do you remember those? Andrex. Yeah. I insisted Mum buy Andrex. I wanted an Andrex puppy. I thought if she bought enough, they might give us one. You know, good customer and all that, but never happened, sadly. But then we got the lovely mayor, so never mind. So that's what I do. And then as things come in, so you're going to give me any stuff you want doing next week? Come on, Jonathan. Come on, you're still awake. You wanted to know how I worked with Affinity Designer and slides, didn't you? So that would probably be after Mike's bit. So here's what I do. Insert a new slide. Because I've selected Mike's slide, the Excel one, and the one underneath is folded up, it uses the same section divider. So from there, I would go in and put Keynote and Affinity Designer, which you don't spell like that. No, Designer. There we go. Now, obviously, that one has nothing underneath it. That is not a top-level slide. So I would then insert another slide, press Tab, and change it to black. And then I can fold that up. Right, what do you want to know about Google Calendar? Moving to it from iCloud and all the tips and tricks with Google Calendar. Do either Google Calendar or moving and put both in. Let me know. Let me know. If I was going to do that, I'd thrill you and I'd put it at the beginning after that. So that would go in there. So is it Google Calendar on its own, or is it moving from iCloud to Google? Because I know Paul, who's dived out for food, would like that. Yes, please. Jonathan, you're going to have to be more clear. Is it... Actually type it in. I'll put in here, iCloud to Google. Now, you're saying Google Calendar. I can put that in if you want. Is it that? iCloud Calendar to Google Calendar. Moving from iCloud. Excellent. Right, moving. Let's do that then. You're seeing behind the scenes. Moving from iCloud to Google. Okay, there we go. It's in. And I would come out and I would do a demo. So let's put a blank slide in for that. You're actually seeing the magic behind the scenes. That's how I can do 93 slides while you're feeding the dog, Kim. That's how. A lot of them are already there as placeholders, and the ones that aren't are all available as master slides in here. So in here, I've got my black and my white and a dark grey. Let me show you some of these. Let's put those in there. So obviously black, white, not thrilling. Dark grey, Got a gradient grey. There's a gradient grey. Don't use gradients much because they don't translate well to video. But whenever I do a desktop, I have a desktop slide. I have a blank maroon one. A lot of stuff uses maroon. I've got an Alfred slide. I've got a Camtasia slide. I've got all the Affinity slides, obviously. So I've got a blank Devonthink one as well. But I've got Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo and Affinity Publisher. I've got the week at MacBites headquarters day slide, so that's already on the slide. I've got a blank after hours slide, completely blank. I've got one blank with a small wolf on it. There he is, Wolfie, small wolf. I've got a bigger one that's blank. What else have I got? I've got a section divider, which is the same but with a section on it. And I have some placeholders, which are, that's my sidebar. Got a placeholder where I would put what I'm waiting for. And a video placeholder. And I've got a MacBites slide and I've got the After Hours Christmas one. But we won't go any further with how I actually integrate that with Affinity Designer yet. We'll save that. Have you introduced any video production apps? I've been creating a daily 10-minute video for a local community. That's brilliant. That's brilliant, Stephen. My video tends to be edited in Camtasia, whatever it is I'm doing. But I presume you're doing it on iPad? You're doing it on iPad? I'm not really the best person to talk about with any apps on iPad for editing video or audio because I don't tend to do it. I do like, when I'm working, I need it to be quick. When we were away, I had a simple job to do. All I needed was to copy some text from Notion. It took me an hour. Don't go there. It was bad. And I said to Mike, an iOS only fundamentalist, you know, he's dying right now. I'm cursing. I don't like it. I need to feel that I'm working quickly. So as Kim says there, it's wonderful to see how fast you work and how organised you are. I have to be, but this system developed over the last year. So it wasn't just a 5-minute thing. I think if you sit down and you try and do what I've done here, there's bits that you just wouldn't know you needed. You literally wouldn't know you needed it. And then that's why I haven't even tried creating a template up to now. I've just had a file and I just duplicate it. When I came to create a template, their idea of a template and my template, no, not the same idea at all. Because there's so much, and I think a lot of people are like that. They have standard slides. It could be instructions. It could be anything. Some of my standard stuff up here, this is next week's, isn't it? What was I putting on that one? Some of my stuff up here, under this, I do its actual content. So some of this, you've got like the 2 weeks at MacBites headquarters. That's if that's unusual because normally something amazing happens here every day. But if not, then I use that to cross it through and I just copy and paste it. I keep copies of my styles in case Keynote goes mental and loses them. But down here, if we do a YouTube premiere, I put this section in. It's a welcome section. And it says what's after hours. And it talks about MacBites and it talks about what we do. That's our slide, isn't it? With all our show art in it. And there's that one, which is that we do demos, tricks, tips, tutorials, unboxings, and all kinds of other stuff. So that sits there. And obviously, I only ever need to use that if it's a YouTube premiere. But I then pull it out of there. So having no content in a template won't work for me. No way. But I do need to work quickly. Otherwise, I lose the will to live. And you don't want to see Mike when I've lost the will to live. And the air's blue. And he's like, this is too slow. Why is that not working? So I feel I need to work quickly. If I'm in a rush and I've done something like these, and that's actually done. Let's make that down a bit. Instead of turning that to green to say it's done, I might just delete it. So you will remember there's been odd episodes where I've said, oh, there's a green dot on it. And what I've done is, it's finished the week at MacBites headquarters, and each one's got a dot, and I've taken those away. I've taken the top one away, and I haven't taken the others away, and I've said, you know, excuse the green dots. That's why the green dots are there. It's so I've got a visual clue as I'm going up and down here, you know, are you done or not? Now, Jonathan's just suggested that one. That hasn't got a green dot, a red dot. So I'd go to another slide, and I'd just copy it. And I'm actually only using my mouse to paste that, to copy and paste it. I have shortcuts on the mouse to save me even doing a Command-C, Command-V, purely for speed. because I fly around and I do this all the time. So Stephen's talking about iPad production. Yeah, I must admit, I have edited video on an iPad. I find it very frustrating. It's just the way I am. I know if I spent more time with it, I'd become better at it. I'm just not in the place to do that. I haven't got the time. If I had, I would have a play with it. I've heard great things about both of those applications. When I edited a video on it, I used iMovie and it was very good. You know, it was very good. I always feel there's a bit of this triumph of hope over expectation with an iPad, but that's just me, and purely the fact that I don't use it as often as other people do. If I were, I'd probably go for a 12.9-inch new iPad and transfer as much as possible to that. I have done audio on an iPad, but I've then taken it into a MacBook Air for editing. I'd love to see how it goes. Let me know how that goes. I'm at the moment, I don't know, I think this is being edited on an iPad. I know it's being recorded on an iPad, but the deacon at our church is recording the masses on an iPad, and I've created a Dropbox request. So all he has to do is tap it and then upload the video. If they are editing it, it's no more than a top and a tail on an iPad. And what I'm getting back, unfortunately, is not high definition. At the moment, I'm more concerned about the audio. So we had a discussion about the fact that, can you turn the speakers off because it's echoing like heck? It's a huge church with a high roof and there's nobody there. So the echo is shocking. I'm having them work on the audio first and then I'll move on to the video. But should this rumble on for 6 months or more, I can see it would probably be better to do more of the production on an iPad and see how we go. If we get down to the fact we've got HD video, I can see the iPad being posted through the door, literally, while I take it off and then. So maybe I'd do it on his iPad, but they may need to be able to do this. I can see it going that way. So some people, tapping on an iPad is rocket science. That's true. I'm actually quite amazed at what we have actually been able to do. The video that I got last week, I could show you the edit of that if you like. It was very basic. It literally needed topping and tailing. But the biggest edit it needed, which obviously Stephen wouldn't have this kind of need, I don't think. He'd do it right in the first place. But when I actually looked at the video, one, it was iPad resolution, so it wasn't 1280 by 720, it wasn't 16:9. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I can barely see him in the distance. I think they were concerned about cutting heads off, so they worked really far back. What I decided to do was utilise the fact they'd done that and turn it into a 16:9 video by cropping off the edges. But it's not ideal. The other priest nearby, who has been doing live streaming since day one, has now got somebody moving the camera. Oh, he's got cameramen. Oh, it's amazing. Multi-shot. So down the line, yeah. It was 6 month fear made you spend money on the new apps. I agree. You're going to need to be able to produce stuff quickly. Otherwise, it becomes all consuming that's all that you can do and all you have the time to do. Which is, Ours hasn't got an iPad, has he? He's an Android boy. He's got a laptop, an Apple laptop, but there's no way he's editing video. There's no way he's doing anything other than maths, to be honest. And even then, with a shotgun to it. He's very self-conscious about doing it, which I understand, but, I would find it more self-conscious, I think, to do it in front of the live congregation. But he's really struggling with that. I don't think the deacons ever edited audio. So, but they have practiced this week because they got messages back. I didn't complain. I left it. I thought, I'll talk to him on Friday about that. But in the meanwhile, other people have said the audio needs to be clearer. Now, he said, that's because I've got an Irish accent, a very strong Irish accent. And I said, no, I think we can improve the audio and it's nothing to do with your accent. But they have actually wandered around the church and they've put the iPad in different places and turned the things on and off to try and get the best that there is. So I'm assuming 6 months from now, it's going to be amazing. So yeah, it's just practice and the kit that makes it fastest for you. So hopefully that will work for you. So that's my Keynote stuff for this week. Now, if you've got any more questions about Keynote, let me know. You'll see the rest of this presentation next week. Was I putting something on that slide? Did somebody request something? We've got the from iCloud to Google, and I did put down Keynote and Affinity Designer. Now's the time, because the slide is right in front of me. That is tantamount to a post-it note. If it goes on there now, it's in next week's show. It's as simple as that. So now's the time to try it. So Stephen's saying audio is always hard. I have a Northern Irish accent. Our other deacon has a Northern Irish accent, and now he's in self-isolation. He's not coming out anytime soon. He's in one of the vulnerable categories, as is his good lady. So he's not coming anywhere anytime soon. But yeah, I think people would maybe struggle. But it's what it is, isn't it? I think that's why people have said to him, our priest has a Southern Irish accent, deacons has a Northern Irish accent, but the congregation want to hear from their celebrants. He tried at first saying there's another mass on Redemptorist Press. You could watch that. Or the Pope's going live. Can't you watch him? And it was like, no, we want you. I think it gives them some kind of comfort to see that although he's there on his own, other than the deacon who's recording, that there is some semblance of normality, that's my priest and he's in my church and everything's going to be okay. I think that does actually matter. And even though the video wasn't, by a long way, it was not the best video I've ever seen, the audio certainly wasn't the best audio I've ever heard, but I did make it louder, so I did manage that. It's giving people comfort anyway. It is. And audio is hard. Audio is very hard. Mike actually had a conversation. Was it about audio or was it about a video? And the person said to you, what microphone are you using?
Yeah.
And I said to Mike that's the argument, that if I go to United and buy a shirt and put number 7 on the back, am I Eric Cantona? And Mike said, no, but it would give you confidence. So, but, Blue Yetis pick up anything and everything. It's not just the microphone, it's all of the configuration settings as well. Which takes me back to, shall I put that on a post-it note, the Blue Yeti thing again? I'll put it on another post-it note and see when it surfaces. There's lots you can do with audio. And you're right, they really do want to see, just to see their priest, they do. I was actually surprised because we're a little bit short round here of celebrants. So our priest had 3 churches. And he went round all 3. He now has 2. One got closed down. But within the locality, there's another priest who has 2, and yet another one that's run by 2. And every single one of them have said, no, one won't do. I don't want to watch the one from across the road. I want to watch mine. One is live streaming, one is making it available on demand, and the other one isn't doing it at all. What he is doing is having like an open telephone line where you can basically ring him any time of the day or night, because there's 2 there. There is he's a priest, isn't he? He's not a deacon. Well, what's the baby one? There's a curate. I think he is actually a priest, but they between them couldn't manage the live streaming or any audio or anything. And it's not that difficult, or we think it's not that difficult. But it is if you're trying to live stream it. The only way that one of these churches is doing the live streaming, is they're doing it via Facebook. And if Facebook wasn't there, then they wouldn't be doing it. So it is very difficult times. You've got to... Live streaming's too scary. Well, our priest was freaked out just doing a video. Somebody made the mistake of sending him the one where the priest had done it and he'd left Snapchat filters on. So there was all funny faces on him. So he sent it to me and said, I hope this doesn't happen to me. So I sent him one back, I must admit, for the giggles, which was the one where the celebrant set his jumper on fire with the candles. And I went back and said, nor this. So he came back with like, I'm not doing this. I said, you're doing it. It's going to be fine. Just don't stand near the candles. Live streaming is... I don't mind it at all, but I had my first time live streaming was in 2001 on a dial-up connection on a 33.6 modem, and I was nervous. I was, but it went well, and we did the live streaming on literally live streaming. It's scary. Live streaming on modem speeds, and we did that for about 6 months, and then we got broadband put in, but the broadband ran at 512k. I did a thing, Mike, where I was trying to work out what's 1,000 in K these days, and it was something like 5 million times faster. So what we've got today can handle the throughput of video and stuff. But yeah, there's still the practical side of it. Live streaming is a technical possibility, but if you've never done it before, it's nerve-wracking. There's a lot of moving parts, as I think you've probably worked out tonight when we tried to do the Zoom thing as well. But also, I did a couple of weeks ago, I did a session where I showed going live with Marooned at MacBites headquarters, which also is a live stream. It's just a live audio stream rather than a live video stream. And again, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of moving parts. And I think it is unreasonable to expect people who've never done it before to be up to speed. But I think at the moment you've got like a grace period. But at some point, people are going to say, well, why aren't you doing that? Because we've been, 6 months in here and we can't get out of the house. And they'll be getting angsty because they think then it's easy. But hopefully by then you've got lots and lots of experience. One thing you could do, Stephen, if you're trying to do live streaming, is just get a TA with you, a technical assistant. They don't have to be physically with you. Mike TA'd a session last night, didn't you?
Yeah.
On Zoom. So Mike was here, but the session was just live on Zoom, and he TA'd it. He technically assisted the person who was actually doing the talking. So anything that came up, which is, I can't hear or my audio isn't working, Mike dealt with that, while the person who needed to present the content went on and presented the content. Obviously, if there was a showstopper, Mike would have said, whoa, we need to do X. But obviously Mike's experienced enough to do that. So one thing you could try is a sort of live stream and say, don't expect much. It's the first time, but get somebody to technically assist you. Obviously they could do with being familiar with the platform you're using, but hey, Zoom can do it. So you're good to go. Good luck with it. Let us know how you get on. Let us go. And if you're feeling brave, you could send us a link to the video. But both of those sound good. I'll take a look at them. It's going on a post-it note, so it's got a good chance. So iPad video and stuff. Right, it's added. So, has anybody said anything else for this blank slide before I pick something and then you're stuffed? You're getting what I'm doing. I'll tell you what, I'll leave it open all week and we'll need to have a bit of a slot for the entries for the competition as well, won't we? Mm. So, I shall put competition. So Stephen says pre-record and post on Facebook at 9 on Sunday and 10 every other day. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. That works for people. They get used to it, don't they? But, if you want any one-to-one talk about what's possible, just ping me and we'll have a chat about it. I'll let you know. My biggest problem's the priest. he's not up for it, but we're getting him there. We're getting him there. Hopefully better iPad might be needed. I've no idea how old this iPad is that's been used for these recordings. But I can tell you now, it's not an iPad Pro in the last 2 years, I can assure you. It's kicking video out at 640 by 480 that I've got to turn the silk purse, the sow's ear into the silk purse. But people have seen that the priest is still alive and that's making them happy. So that's all I can say. Right, okay then. I'll leave that as blank, but I will save it. Now, my other presentation, which was for wrapping up today, is on the other screen. So let me get down to where we were. We've swapped the unboxing, people. We've swapped that. We swapped the unboxing for the buying it with Elaine at Morrison's. I can't wait to tell you tomorrow night on Marooned at MacBites headquarters what we actually get. Because I'm not hopeful of the toilet rolls. But hey, there's chocolate on there for Mike. So unboxing turned into shopping with Elaine. I am to shopping as excited usually as Lola. Yeah, I've seen her more excited. She wasn't happy that day, was she, Mike? That was in Leeds. We were at Harrogate. We were heading over to York. I'll be right in the end. That's when we went to York, and she wasn't impressed. Bless her little heart, she wasn't impressed. But we will be back with you next week. So, any more questions? Who's eating what? Graham's gone. Have we got Jonathan asleep yet? Rockabye, Jonathan. Well, if he doesn't reply, that's it. I win. So this is the moment. This is the moment. I'm waiting to hear from Jonathan. Let me know if you're still there. So is anybody having anything to eat, or it's far too late here, probably. Having said that, there is a piece of gluten-free toast with my name on it. Are you having some?
Would do.
You look so thrilled, Mike. I'm quite prepared to have yours.
No.
Are you peeved because you didn't get your order in?
No.
Did you get your order in?
No.
Oh. Did you have any toilet rolls on your order?
Didn't have an order.
No, poor Mike.
Didn't get that.
I did. Anyway, this week we're going live every night, starting tomorrow. Damn, you just made me sorry, Simon. Sorry.
I think Jonathan's asleep.
I think Jonathan's asleep. I think we've done it. Yes, I think we've done it. We are going live every day, tomorrow included, 7 o'clock, but we do have a hard out at 8. Live show at 8 somewhere else. But we will be doing Marooned at MacBites headquarters. It's carrying on MacBites FM. Or Brooklands if we hijack them. Now, we also have all of the recordings available, although I'm one day behind. Simon's got a very important question for you, Mike.
I know.
He's replying. When you say the Toblerone, Simon, the Toblerone, the huge one has now become part of our prepper pack. It's now survival. It's there with a chisel and a hammer, and should the need arise, we'll all be eating it. Good night, Paul. So do join us. You can listen to previous shows on that link, which I appreciate is hideous. You take that link and you put it in your podcatcher. It's far easier to go to the website and get it from there. But other than that, we'll be back next week with MacBites After Hours, which is Friday, the 10th of April. So it's good night from me. Come on, Mike.
It's good night from me. I'm right in the chat. It's good night from me. It is 4 kilos, isn't it?
Yes,
Something
at
like
least. At least. Possibly more. I'll do that again. Now he's awake. Good night from me.
I wasn't asleep. I was
Third time
Good
lucky.
night from me.
Hey!
Yeah.
This is such a clean sign
I
off,
will
isn't
see
it?
you next time.
We'll both see you next time. Good night, guys. Thank you for sharing with us. See you on Marooned.